Chapter 493. Yunjoga took Grey Rock and Dummy back to Eagle Cliff. Elder Bai was waiting for them to come back empty-handed. He asked in shock, "You didn't get any gaga grass?" Although the Nagas were ferocious, there was no way they couldn't even get one. Elder Bai, Lady Yun and Warrior Yi Zi are too powerful. As soon as they appeared, they made the insectoids kneel on the ground and beg to follow them. Zay laughed as though the Naga race was loyal to him. Dummy stood next to him and imitated him, giggling with its wings akimbo. It looked like a hen that had just laid eggs. "What's going on?" Elder Bai looked at his steady grandson. Jun, Meng and the others were deceived by the oracle. Those gaga are all raised with a kind of gray stone. If a pregnant woman eats it, she will give birth to a weak baby. If an adult eats it, they will slowly become stupid and eventually become a puppet. After Miss Yun exposed the oracle's conspiracy, Meng and the others decided to follow Miss Yun. The military counselor explained the whole process in detail. "Those who aren't of our race must have a different heart. I knew that the oracle wasn't a good person." Elder Bai slapped his thigh and quickly realized he said the wrong thing. He quickly explained to Yunjoga, "Lady Yun, I'm definitely not talking about you, it's fine." Yunjoga stopped Elder Bai and said, "I'm going into seclusion to study the origin of those gray rocks. Elder Bai, please arrange a safe place for me." "I've already arranged a place for you. It's the prince's nest. It's very safe and hidden. What do you think?" Elder Bai asked. "Very good." Yunjoga nodded. Dummy's nest was some distance away from Eagle Cliff. It was surrounded by cliffs. It couldn't be better. "Lady Yun, you must be hungry after being busy for so long. We've already prepared dinner. Why don't you go over after eating?" Elder Bai said warmly. Yunjoga thought about the dead spiders, rats, and snakes in the warehouse and rejected decisively, "No need, I want to study it early. I'll go over now." Then, she sat on Dummy's back and left like she was being chased by a ghost. "Miss Yun." Elder Bai looked at Yunjoga's back anxiously and said worriedly, "They don't have anything on them. What are they going to eat later?" "Elder, you don't have to worry about them. Lady Yun should have a lot of food on her." The military advisor repeated what Yunjoga had said to the Naga tribe. "Did she really say that she could solve the food problem of our two tribes?" Elder Bai quickly asked. "Yes, Zay heard it too." The advisor nodded. "That's right, I heard it too. Lady Yun already promised to give food to our tribe first." Zay patted his chest as if he had fought for this benefit. "Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and bring the warriors to protect Miss Yun." Elder Bai was so anxious that he almost jumped up. The fact that Yunjoga was able to solve the fertility problem of the tribe was already impressive enough. Now that he was able to solve the food problem as well, Yunjoga's position in Elder Bai's heart had already soared, comparable to that of the old patriarch who had passed away. "Patriarch, we've been running for a day and haven't even had a drop of water. Can't you wait until we're full before going over?" Zay felt wronged. He was starving. "Eat my **s, hurry up and get out. If anything happens to Lady Yun, I'll eat you all," Elder Bai roared and kicked Zay away. The military advisor left on his own accord. Jun, I'm really hungry. I can't fly anymore." Zay hung his head and flapped his wings weakly. His stomach rumbled like a drum. "Idiot, what can you eat at Eagle Cliff? If you want to eat, go find His Royal Highness." Lady Yun and the others might not need to eat, but His Royal Highness definitely needed to eat. Judging from his size, his food must be good. "Yes, you're right. Let's hurry." Zay flapped his wings and flew towards Dummy's nest. Dummy's nest. Yunjoga was taking out food from his storage bag. Pile after pile of beef patties and fresh fruits were piled in front of Dummy. These were prepared a long time ago when they left to deal with the bloodthirsty patriarch. Although they had been there for a few years, the storage bag was empty. They were still very fresh when he took them out. Dummy, be a good boy and watch the door. Don't let anyone come in and disturb us, okay? Yunjoga patted Dummy's fat head. Ow, ow, ow. Dummy spread his wings to encircle the food and nodded furiously. Although cherry pills and spirit water were delicious, eating them every day was boring. It was good to change up the taste occasionally. Good boy. Yunjoga pacified Dummy and brought Zishang into the depths of the nest. Then, she took out Ian Shirley from the storage bag. Last time, she used a bit of Ian Shirley's heaven and earth spiritual heart power. This time, she gave him some god power as compensation. The golden god power dripped onto Ian Shirley's heart. Ian Shirley's originally corpse-like chest began to rise and fall. Color returned to his face. Then, he slowly opened his eyes. Lady Yun, Yi. Ian Shirley looked at Yunjoga in confusion. You're awake. How do you feel? Are you feeling unwell? Yunjoga asked. I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh right, where is this? Where's the divine temple? Ian Shirley crawled up from the ground and realized that he was in a wide cave. The sky outside was gloomy and there was a faint aura of death in the air. The divine temple has been destroyed. This is the chaos mystic realm. Nangong Yu brought Cho Sen and the others into the mystic realm a month earlier than us. Yunjoga briefly explained what had happened. Ian Shirley listened with admiration and looked at Yunjoga with admiration. The problem now is that Nangong Yu and the others are destroying the mystic realm. I suspect that these stones have something to do with them. Have you seen these stones before? Yunjoga took out the gray stones and asked Ian Shirley. Let me see. Ian Shirley took the gray stones and wanted to infuse spiritual power into them. However, he realized that his dantian seemed to be dead. This mystic realm is a spirit-forbidden zone. Spiritual power cannot be used here, Yunjoga said. Ian Shirley frowned. After some thought, he rubbed his fingers and a faint gray Yin Chi floated out. You can use Yin Chi. Yunjoga was surprised. This is my natal Yin Chi. Didn't I tell you that I have the Yin-Yang Dao physique? Ian Shirley said. No. Yunjoga finally knew how Ian Shirley was able to obtain the heaven and earth spiritual heart. He had been the sect patriarch for so many years without being discovered. The Yin-Yang Dao physique was a heaven-class bone frame and was even rarer than Lu Tianer's and Yi Yunji's Dao physiques. Lu Tianer was born with a refined corpse physique. If she cultivated a Yin Qi cultivation technique, she would turn herself into a living corpse. However, Ian Shirley's Yin-Yang Dao physique was able to freely switch between human and corpse. Chapter 494. Maybe I forgot. Ian Shirley grinned, then channeled his Yin Qi into the gray stone. The gray stone immediately changed. It turned into a ball of black-red light and burrowed into his body. Ian Shirley wanted to use his Yin Qi to block it, but it devoured him instead. Yunjoga's eyes were sharp and his hands were quick. A golden light shot out and trapped the black-red light. The black-red light struggled desperately, but it could not break free from the divine power. What is this? Yunjoga originally thought it was a control power. He did not expect it to be something else. It's a little like demonic qi, Zishang said hesitantly. Demonic qi. Aren't the devil race in the devil realm? Yunjoga had purposely opened up a large realm for the devil race to play together. They were not allowed to harm other small realms. Moreover, Wansha had already returned to the devil realm. They could not let the devil race come out and cause destruction. It's a little like Wansha's demonic chi, but it's not quite the same. Zishang thought for a moment. He bit his index finger and drew a line between his brows, forcefully opening his demon eye. His eye split into 3. As it rotated, it emitted different colors. He looked straight at the ball of black-red light. How is it? Yunjoga asked nervously. This is not just simple demonic chi. It's mixed with yin chi, baleful chi, resentment chi, and other extremely evil things. Sweat seeped out of Zishang's forehead. He quickly closed his eyes and revealed an exhausted expression. Opening his eye without any demon power was too much of a burden on him. Are you all right? Yunjoga wiped Zishang's sweat with a pained expression. Times are different now. Don't force yourself. What if something happens? I'm fine. Zishang shook his head. He quickly pulled himself together so that Yunjoga wouldn't worry. The demonic chi contained in this gray stone is so complicated. Where did Nangong Yu get it? Yin Shirley was very surprised. Nangong Yu was a righteous person. I'm afraid we can only ask Nangong Yu or Nangong Li. Yunjoga shook his head. It's useless to investigate its origin. Why don't we think of a way to remove it? Zishang said. There's no way to remove my yin chi. I can only strengthen it. Yin Shirley shook his head, indicating that he was powerless to help. Just as Yunjoga was about to say that his divine power could solve the problem, Zishang spoke first. Although your power can solve the problem, it cannot solve the root of the problem. Nangong Yu must have many of these gray stones in her hands. You won't be able to stop her. There were so many beast men in the mystic realm. How many could his divine power save? Then what should we do? Yunjoga frowned. Could it be that she could only watch as these beast men died? The goddess couldn't do that. Our goal in entering the dungeon is to find Li Wei and obtain the key. Then, on the basis of finding him, we'll help these beast men find a way to remove the control. Zishang wanted the beast men to help find Li Wei. Otherwise, with how big the mystic realm was and how they couldn't use their divine abilities, who knew how long it would take them to find it? After talking for so long, you still don't have a solution to this demonic chi. Yunjoga wanted to roll his eyes. Zishang was always thinking of using others to do things for him. I'll think of a solution. At least we now know what this gray stone is. To solve it, all we need is time, Zishang said nonchalantly. Senior is right. This thing is formed by mixing demonic chi with various kinds of evil chi. At the end of the day, it's just a high-level version of demonic chi. We'll know once we try a few more methods. As the sect master of an evil sect, Yin Shirley was also very knowledgeable about such things. He immediately suggested, Miss Yun, why don't you try using something from the righteous path? For example, Buddhist light, Tao light, etc. Sect master, have you forgotten that I'm from the same sect as you? How was she supposed to get Buddhist light and Tao light? Yes. Yin Shirley was a little embarrassed. He had a feeling that Yunjoga and Sanskrit Almighty Being were in cahoots. Did Sanskrit not have any instructions for you to follow us in? Zishang asked. That fellow was a Buddhist expert. No, the Almighty Being only told me to follow you and follow your orders. Yin Shirley shook his head. If he wants you to follow me, he should at least give you some Dharma artifact, such as a Buddhist relic, Yunjoga asked hopefully. I'm a living corpse. Am I afraid that I won't die fast enough with that thing? Yin Shirley asked honestly. All right. Yunjoga gave up. We'll talk about the Dharma artifact later. Go out and see if Dummy's brain is this kind of demonic chi, Zishang said. If the great chi in Dummy's brain wasn't demonic chi, then it would be useless for them to talk for a long time. Alright, I'll go take a look now. Yunjoga had only used his spirit eye to check briefly before. This time, he had to check it seriously. The three of them walked out and saw Ah Zhe and Advisor June squatting beside Dummy. They were looking at the pile of food on the ground with extremely hungry and pitiful eyes. Dummy's two fat wings formed a semicircle to protect the food in the middle. His mouth was eating extremely quickly. He was extremely protective of his food. Dummy, you're too stingy. Yunjoga glanced at Dummy's protruding stomach. It was clearly so full that it was about to vomit, but it still couldn't bear to share with others. What a stingy bird. Miss Yun, don't blame the prince. He wasn't like this in the past. He probably doesn't recognize us now, so he's being so protective of his food. Advisor June hurriedly explained for Dummy. He was afraid that Yunjoga wouldn't have a good impression of Dummy and would abandon the Eagle clan. I'm just afraid that he'll eat too much. Alright, Dummy, you can't eat anymore. Yunjoga walked to the side and forcefully wrapped the food on the ground with a cloth. Ow, ow, ow. Dummy's feathers immediately exploded. His entire bird turned into a big ball. He looked at Ah Zhe and Advisor June with an extremely ferocious gaze. He looked like he would fight them to the death if they dared to eat his food. Keep it well. Eat when you're hungry. Yunjoga didn't share the food with Ah Zhe and Advisor June. Instead, he packed it into a big bag and tied it to Dummy. Only then did Dummy retract his fat wings in satisfaction. He walked to his nest and hugged the bag to lie down. He was actually going to sleep. Ah Zhe and Advisor June held their flat stomachs. Although they were very disappointed, they didn't dare to say anything. You guys can take these things and share them first. Yunjoga turned around and took out a big bag of beef patties and big steamed buns from his cloth bag. He said to Ah Zhe, after we've dealt with the gray gas, I'll help you solve the problem of food. It's okay. We can still find food now. You just have to try your best to solve it before winter comes, Ah Zhe said excitedly as he took the bag of food. All right. Yunjoga nodded. He decided to let Ian Shirley handle the problem of food for the orcs in case he had too much free time. Chapter 495. Lady Yun, Elder Bai asked us to send people to guard you. We will be stationed on the cliff. If you need anything, just call us, Ah Zhe said warmly. He felt that he had made the right decision to come. Okay, I will. Yunjoga nodded. Lady Yun, who is this brother? The military advisor looked at Ian Shirley, who had appeared out of nowhere. This is my companion. His name is Ian Shirley. Yunjoga gave a simple introduction. He clearly didn't want to say much. So it's Brother Ian. I'm the military advisor. He's Ah Zhe. Since you're Lady Yun's companion, you're a friend of the Eagle race, the military advisor greeted politely. Ian Shirley nodded and didn't say anything. With his status and seniority, he really didn't want to be brothers with two juniors. Okay, hurry back. Don't disturb my work. Yunjoga sent Ah Zhe and the military advisor off and went to look at Dummy. Dummy was hugging his bag of food and getting ready to sleep. Ever since he returned to the mystic realm, he always looked drowsy. Yunjoga used his god power to open his spirit eye and looked at Dummy's head. He saw that the golden light was still stubbornly blocking the gray gas. Other than the gray gas getting thicker, there wasn't any change. Yunjoga looked around and couldn't see any similarities between the gray gas and demonic chi. He took out his lightning fire and said to Ian Shirley, "Come and borrow some blood. Stab here." Ian Shirley extended his thumb. Yunjoga stabbed some blood and stabbed towards Dummy's head. The grey gas smelled the blood and surrounded it like a shark. It immediately exploded and turned into a ball of black and red light. Dummy, who was sleeping, suddenly opened his blood-red eyes and flapped his wings to fly out. Dummy, come back. Yunjoga hurriedly used his moon spirit thread to entangle him but was dragged out. Zishang pounced towards Dummy with lightning speed and wanted to press it down but was flung away by Dummy. Ow, ow, ow. Dummy opened his mouth and shot out a series of fireballs. The entire cave was filled with sparks and shaking non-stop. Ah Zay, who was enjoying his food outside the cliff, noticed the commotion and asked the military advisor, "What's going on? Let's go and take a look." Military counselor was not sure either. The two of them spread their wings and flew toward Dummy's nest, but they were almost hit by a fireball that flew out. What's wrong with the prince? Ah Zay looked at the raging Dummy in shock. The grey gas in his brain is going to explode. Yunjoga was using his moon spirit threads to hold Dummy back, not letting him run. Zishang blocked Dummy's fireball attack with his black-scaled arms, then rushed over and hammered him to the ground. Ow, ow, ow. Dummy acted as if it didn't feel any pain and continued to struggle with all its might. Release the line and let him fly out, Zishang said to Yunjoga. It was like training a horse. You had to let it run until it was tired. What if he doesn't come back? Yunjoga regretted his recklessness. If he had known that Dummy would go berserk, he would have gone somewhere else to provoke it. I'll keep an eye on him. Zishang jumped onto Dummy's back and tightly held onto the bundle tied around his body. Use this to tie him up. Be careful. Yunjoga threw a ball of hemp rope to Zishang. After he was firmly tied up, he released the moon spirit threads. Dummy immediately flew out of the nest and turned into a small black dot in the blink of an eye. Why aren't you guys chasing? Yunjoga said to Ah Zay and military counselor anxiously. Oh, okay. Ah Zay caught up and shouted, Your Highness, Your Highness. Military counselor didn't chase. Instead, he asked Yunjoga seriously, Miss Yun, what happened? Why did His Highness suddenly go berserk? The thing in His Highness's brain isn't puppet chi, but high-level demonic chi. Yunjoga explained her discovery. Military counselor was confused, but he quickly grasped an important point. Is puppet chi more difficult to deal with, or high-level demonic chi more difficult to deal with? Of course it's high-level demonic chi that's difficult to deal with. Puppet chi is only a small part of high-level demonic chi, Yunjoga said helplessly. She and Ian Shirley were both from evil sections. They were good at collecting and using demonic chi, but they had no idea how to deal with it. Then what should we do? Military counselor was anxious. It was his first time hearing about demonic chi and puppet chi, let alone dealing with it. He could only rely on outsiders like Yunjoga. This can't be rushed. Let's wait for Your Highness to come back first. Yunjoga only hoped that Dummy could come back safely. Even if he was a little dumb, it was better than being dead. I'll get someone to chase after him now. Military counselor flapped his wings and flew toward Eagle Cliff. Don't worry. With Dummy's size, it's hard for anything to happen to him, Ian Shirley comforted Yunjoga. Gluttons were always the hardest race to eliminate. I hope so. Yunjoga sighed, but she quickly pulled herself together and asked Ian Shirley, why did the demonic chi disguised as puppet chi explode the moment it touched your blood? How would I know? You're not suspecting that I'm a demon, are you? Ian Shirley was speechless. The demon race doesn't have living corpses. Yunjoga was very familiar with the demon race. How could she not recognize Ian Shirley's true identity? It's either related to my yin-yang Taoist body or my heaven and earth spirit heart. Ian Shirley's most precious and special items were these two. Try them both. I'll take out your heaven and earth spirit heart first. Then, you can use your yin-yang Taoist body to try these gray stones. Ian Shirley could freely switch between human and corpse. Even if he took out the heaven and earth spirit heart, he could still last for a while. Okay. Ian Shirley nodded. After spending some time together, he trusted Yunjoga very much. Yunjoga's right hand turned into a claw and grabbed at Ian Shirley's chest. A crystal-clear green heart appeared in her hand. Ian Shirley's face immediately turned ashen. He quickly grabbed a gray stone and inserted a ray of gray into it. The gray stone immediately turned into a black-red light. However, it was much weaker than before. It was easily surrounded by Yunjoga. Try using your heaven and earth spirit heart again. Yunjoga placed the heaven and earth spirit heart back into Ian Shirley's chest. This time, the demonic chi that Ian Shirley released was as ferocious as before. It seems like your heaven and earth spirit heart has a nourishing effect on this demonic chi, Yunjoga concluded. Demonic chi exists by devouring spiritual power. The reason why it came to the primal chaos mystic realm and turned into puppet chi is probably because this is a forbidden zone, Ian Shirley added. You're right. Yunjoga sadly realized that after he gained a new understanding of this demonic chi, he found it even more difficult to get rid of it. Chapter 496. There will always be a way. Ian Shirley felt his words were very weak. Even he couldn't believe it. Yes, there will definitely be a way. Yunjoga cheered herself on. Plus, Zi Shang was here. That despicable and unscrupulous guy would always think of a way at the crucial moment. Just at this moment, there was a flapping sound outside the cliff. Dummy was tied up and carried back by the birdman while Zi Shang was holding on to Ah Zai's leg. What happened to Dummy? Yunjoga quickly went up and saw Dummy's red face and crooked mouth. He looked pitiful. He flew too fast and couldn't stop, so I helped him. Zi Shang jumped in front of Yunjoga. You're too evil. Yunjoga glared at Zi Shang. What if he injured Dummy? I know what I'm doing. Zi Shang always hit the fleshy parts of Dummy. Dummy, do you still recognize me? Yunjoga patted Dummy's chubby face. Seeing that his eyes were spinning, she quickly opened her spirit eye to check and was shocked to find that the black and red light in Dummy's brain had decreased by a lot. What did you do to him? Yunjoga couldn't help but ask Zi Shang. What happened to him? Zi Shang was a little guilty. This fat bird couldn't have been injured by him, right? The demonic chi in his brain disappeared. Yunjoga told them about how Dummy's injuries had healed and asked them to think about what had happened just now. Zi Shang thought carefully and shook his head. I didn't do anything. I just punched him a few times. Then, he looked at Dummy with an itchy look. That's not the reason. Yunjoga decisively dispelled Zi Shang's bad intentions and looked at Ah Zai and military advisor with a questioning look. His Highness was already like this when we chased up. Military advisor Ah Zai and the others also didn't find anything special. Why don't you find another orc to compare, like that Aunt Gaga? Zi Shang suggested. Aunt Gaga's situation is different from Dummy's. Dummy has a ball of golden light in his head that can repel the demonic aura, but Aunt Gaga doesn't. Yunjoga shook her head. Suddenly, an idea flashed through her mind. That's right, the golden light in Dummy's head was able to resist the demonic chi tenaciously when it was outside. After entering the Arcana land, it directly resisted the demonic chi outside. If they could decipher the secret of the golden light, then the beastmen in this mystic realm would be saved. I remember you saying that your prince is the only orc in the Arcana land who can transform. Yunjoga Huang suspected that Dummy's transformation had something to do with the golden light. Yes, we beast men are half human and half beast. Only His Highness can freely switch between beast and human forms. He is the only one in our arcane realm in the past few hundred years. The military advisor nodded and said. This was also the reason why the eagle race was superior to the other beast men. He can take human form. Yunjoga was surprised. Of course, His Highness's human form is also very perfect, the military counselor replied proudly. Yunjoga looked down at the plump dummy, and an image of a chubby kid immediately appeared in his mind. But this was not the point. The point was how the golden light in Dummy's head was formed. After so many years, have you never thought about the reason why Ling Fei can transform at will? Yunjoga asked. This is a skill that God gave to His Highness. What is there to think about? The military counselor looked puzzled. How could God's will be so easily guessed? This is not God's will. It is a physique problem. Dummy is very likely to have eaten something that caused him to evolve. Yunjoga thought of Dummy's gluttonous physique and felt that he had already discovered the truth of the matter. I am not sure about this. His Highness likes to look for food everywhere since he was young. We can't even find a trace of him. The military counselor shook his head. These years, the tribe had been very difficult. Even as a prince, Dummy did not have any preferential treatment. If he wanted more food, he had to find a way himself. He was fast and had a good nose. He could often eat a full meal and bring back some food. These food were usually given to Elderbai as a show of respect. But Elderbai ate so much, but he did not find any signs of evolution. Looks like I still have to wake Dummy up. It was just that it would take too much divine power. Yunjoga looked at Zishang, wanting to ask for his opinion. Sure. Zishang expressed his approval. When he was riding on Dummy's body just now, he also found many special things about him. Rather than saying that Dummy was a beast man, it was better to say that he was a demon. He did not go through any special training, but his physical body was extremely strong. If he also cultivated the demon cultivation method, he would definitely become a great demon. He planned to observe Dummy after he woke up. If he was really loyal to Yunjoga, then he could train him well. Say, military counselor, take some people to guard outside. Yi Zi and Signorine, stay here and help me guard. I want to help your highness solve the demonic chi problem in his brain, Yunjoga said. Yes. The military counselor nodded and immediately flew out of Dummy's nest with the eagle warriors. They hid on the cliff outside. Do you need me to do anything? Ian Shirley asked. Rest well. Try not to use the power of the spiritual heart of heaven and earth, Yunjoga said. This mystic realm would devour spiritual power. This was very dangerous for Ian Shirley. Then I will try my best to maintain my zombie state. Ian Shirley said as he went to a corner and squatted down. Help me guard, Yunjoga said to Zishang. Don't worry. With Zishang around, there would be no problem. Yunjoga then threw Dummy into its grass nest. She then used her palm to press against its Baihui acupoint. Golden divine power surged in. In order to get rid of the demonic chi in Dummy's brain in one go, she didn't hold back at all. She poured in all the divine power in her body. When the black-red demonic chi saw Yunjoga's divine power enter, it fled in panic. It wanted to enter Dummy's blood through its meridians. Yunjoga was just about to use her divine power to seal off its escape route. The golden light in Dummy's brain had already surrounded the black-red demonic chi. A portion of it rushed over to join her. Yunjoga's pupils shrank when she felt the power of Dummy's golden light. This power was actually very similar to divine power. It was just that her divine power had been refined to become extremely pure. It could fuse with her soul and become immortal. Dummy's golden light was filled with impurities. It had power but could not become a god. Even so, it was enough to shock Yunjoga. If she could also obtain the power of this golden light, then it would be just a matter of time before she could recover her divine power. Although she was very tempted by this golden power, she wasn't immoral enough to devour Dummy's power. She immediately focused her mind and used all her strength to get rid of the demonic chi. Dummy's golden light worked with her and finally succeeded in completely getting rid of the demonic chi. Yunjoga's dantian was completely emptied. Her body swayed and she almost fell to the ground. Chapter 497. Zishang hurriedly supported Yunjoga, but she pushed his arm and urged him, "Quick, help me see how Dummy is doing." Ever since she discovered the secret of the golden light in Dummy's brain, Yunjoga's attention to it had soared. "It's fine. It will probably wake up in 2 or 3 days. After all, it's a brain injury. It won't heal so quickly." Zishang quickly glanced at Dummy, then helped Yunjoga to sit down. He said angrily and helplessly, "You're working too hard for it. What if they encounter danger in the future if they used up all their divine power?" "It's fine." Yunjoga shook her head. She didn't tell Zishang about the golden light. It wasn't that she didn't trust Zishang, but Ian Shirley was there. It was hard to talk about divine power. Although Ian Shirley had already declared his loyalty to her, she was still a little afraid when she thought that he was sent by someone else. "Don't do that again." Zishang knew that it was useless to say that. Yunjoga was very stubborn when it came to saving people. He could only take care of her. "Yes, yes." Yunjoga nodded perfunctorily. She said something else, "The beast men are having a hard time now. Winter is coming soon. The food in my storage bag is just a drop in the bucket. We have to find a way to help them solve their food problem. Otherwise, they will still turn to that oracle. Do you have any way to help them grow crops like rice? Don't look at me. Whatever I plant will die." Ian Shirley immediately shook his head. He was a living corpse that could only absorb vitality. How could he grow crops? TSK. If she had known that the Ian corpse sect was so useless, she would have turned to the orthodox sections. Yunjoga thought to herself. Then, she looked at Zishang expectantly. "That's easy." Zishang looked at Yunjoga speechlessly and said, "Why don't you just let little baby come out? It's a divine artifact that you made with the spirits of plants." There was a story about little baby. When Yunjoga had just become an adult, she suddenly wanted to make a sky garden. She ordered the people of the divine palace to collect countless seeds and started to set it up. Later, she felt that the flowers and trees grew too slowly. She collected the spirits of plants in preparation to make an artifact spirit that would be used to manage the garden. At that time, Yunjoga's divine power was at its most abundant. Whatever he casually forged was an extremely rare divine weapon. This was how the little baby was born. Oh right, I forgot about it. Yunjoga had not played with plants for many years. In addition, the divine tripod had become a demonic tripod. She always had the illusion that it could only be used for alchemy. You collected a lot of random seeds in the past. Maybe there's something useful in them. Although Yunjoga mainly collected flowers and trees, he didn't know how to use them. However, there were many plants that could be eaten and some could bear fruit. Let me ask. Yunjoga calmed his mind and began to call for the little baby. "Master, why are you looking for me?" The little baby immediately jumped out. "Help me find some seeds that are suitable to be planted on the land ravaged by death aura. They must be edible," Yunjoga instructed. It's the aura of death. How can something good grow in such a broken place? The little baby pouted. He had been with Yunjoga for so many years. If it wasn't a heaven-grade spirit field, he wouldn't be interested in it. He had never planted a land with death aura. Stop being so long-winded. Just find it. Yunjoga's face darkened. She didn't have so much time to talk nonsense with this little baby. Oh. The little baby stuck out his tongue. His little fat hand reached into his pocket and began to dig around. He muttered, "This 1,000-leaf flower can't do it. This 100 fragrant red fruit can't do it. This white jade dew flower can't do it, hurry up." Yunjoga urged impatiently. Although communicating with the little baby consumed very little divine power, it was still a huge burden for her now. "Ah, I got it." The little baby's eyes lit up. He took out a fist-sized khaki seed from his pocket and said, "This is the grass that the grass tribe who lived in the desert of death provided. It has the most tenacious vitality and adaptability among all the spirit herbs." "What does this grass look like?" Yunjoga asked again. "When it rushes out, it will be a large piece of yellow grass." The little baby blinked his big eyes and said, "I heard that this grass is rich in water and has starch precipitation. It can be eaten by both humans and animals. In the past, the desert grass tribe relied on this thing to gain the faith of the Sand Nation. Then, they were able to enter the eyes of the divine palace." Although the little baby disdained the grass seed after receiving it, he still accepted it for the sake of the desert grass tribe's commendable sincerity. He didn't expect it to come in handy now. "Okay, this is it. Why is there only one? One was too little. How long would it take for the beastmen to eat it? One is already very powerful. You just need to grind a little of this grass and scatter it anywhere. It will grow into a large piece. It will be edible in 2 days." The desert grass tribe attacked the goddess with the essence of the grass. No matter how much this seed was cut, it could grow back. It was no exaggeration to say that a fist-sized seed could be planted in half of the secret territory. "I'll try it now." After Yunjoga left the Sea of Knowledge, a fist-sized yellow seed appeared in her hand. "What kind of grass is this?" Zishang took it and smelled it. It smelled like grass. Ian Shirley, who was squatting in the corner, also looked curious. "The grass tribe says that it only needs a little to grow a large piece. It can be eaten by humans and animals. Why don't we go to the Naga tribe and try it?" There were not many flat lands in Eagle Cliff. It was too wasteful to use it to test this. "What about Dummy?" Zishang looked at Dummy, who was sleeping soundly. Its little belly was bulging, and it was sleeping very soundly. "Just put it in the spirit beast bag." As Yunjoga spoke, she put Dummy into her spirit beast bag. In this situation, it was safest to carry it around at all times. "Squeeze to death, squeeze to death." Feifei's dissatisfied scream pierced straight into Yunjoga's head. The treasure-seeking scorpion couple didn't say anything. "You talk too much." Yunjoga rubbed her ears. "How can they compare to me? I'm a girl." Feifei felt wronged. The treasure-seeking scorpion couple was already an uncle and an aunt. They quickly lay on the fat bird and slept soundly. But with her clean body, she would never get close to a male bird that emitted a strong smell. "Okay, then come out and follow me." Yunjoga thought of Feifei's yin and yang body. Perhaps keeping it by his side would be of some use. Feifei flew out impatiently and landed on Yunjoga's shoulder. She was about to start crying. "Be obedient and you'll get spirit pills to eat." Yunjoga stuffed 2 spirit pills into Feifei's mouth and told Zishang to call a Zhe and military advisor. The 2 birdmen flew up and found that their prince was gone. They were shocked. Yunjoga had to show them his ability to collect spirit beasts to make them feel completely at ease. I'm going to the Naga tribe. Can you take us there? Yunjoga asked under Ose's admiring gaze. Chapter 498. Of course, Elder Bai thought of this long ago. That's why we've brought out our precious seat for you. Ose took out a green net from his pouch. After laying it flat, he used the hard white bone as a support and turned it into the shape of a very firm chair. The advisor and I will carry it. You just have to sit on it. Ose showed the sturdy strap, indicating that this seat was absolutely safe. It looks pretty good. Yunjoga tugged at the green thread. It was indeed very firm. Even if it wasn't, it was fine. She still had the moon spirit thread. Are we going now? Ose asked excitedly. Take this Qianbei out for a ride first. I still need to prepare some things. Yunjoga turned and sent Shirley to Ose and the military advisor. Oh, okay. Ose thought that Yunjoga wanted to find someone to test the safety of the seat. He very enthusiastically placed Shirley in the seat and flew away with the military advisor. In the blink of an eye, only Yunjoga and Zishang were left in the lair. Do you have something to say to me? Ziming asked Yunjoga. Yes. Yunjoga sent everyone away. Other than preparing some things for the cannibals, he also wanted to talk to Zishang about the golden light in Dummy's head. Are you sure the golden light in his head is similar to divine power? Zishang stared fervently at Yunjoga's spirit beast bag. He wished he could grab Dummy and crack open its brain to take a closer look. That's right. If I can absorb this energy, I'll be able to recover my divine power. Yunjoga nodded. When he noticed Zishang's expression, he quickly added, Dummy's brain isn't even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. The most important thing is to find out what he's been eating. Yes, you're right. Zishang nodded regretfully. In fact, he felt that Dummy could also absorb that golden light. It was better than nothing. However, thinking that Yunjoga would definitely not agree, it was better not to say it out loud and make her angry. Alright, let's go to the Naga tribe and test out the effects of eating grass. Yunjoga was full of fighting spirit. If he could subdue the orcs in the mystic realm by eating grass, he wouldn't have to be afraid of Ollie no matter what he encountered in the future. Alright. Zishang and Yunjoga shared the same thought. He even began to think about how he could use the Naga tribe and the Eagle tribe to rope in the surrounding tribes. Now was the crucial time to seize the initiative. Otherwise, if Nangongyu were to spread her demonic energy, there would be trouble. Yunjoga took out the beef pancakes and pork jerky from his storage bag and filled it to the brim. Then, he walked to the edge of the cliff and whistled. Hearing Yunjoga's whistle, Ose and the advisor immediately flew back with Shirley. Shirley, who was sitting on the green chair, had a calm expression on his face, but his hair, which was hanging loosely behind him, was blown into a bird's nest. This seat is indeed not bad, but it doesn't have a windshield. Shirley calmly pulled his hair down, secretly regretting that he didn't have the habit of tying up his hair. It's good that you're safe. You stay here and guard the house. Let's go. Yunjoga sat on a chair. Zishang grabbed the leg of a Hawk tribe warrior and flew towards the Naga tribe. At this time, the Naga warriors were patrolling the vicinity of the Gaga grass to prevent their tribesmen from approaching. Seeing a few black spots in the sky from afar, he immediately blew his horn. When he saw Yunjoga and Zishang, he immediately cheered, Lady Yun, Master Yi Zi, you're back. After landing safely, Yunjoga walked towards Mang. Did anything happen in the tribe recently? Did anyone from the Divine Messenger come to find you? No, the tribe has been very safe recently. It's just that food is getting harder and harder to find. There aren't many orcs on the Divine Messenger's side that can fly. Currently, no one has come to our tribe. Meng looked at Yunjoga with fervent eyes. He had been thinking about Yunjoga's promise to solve their tribe's food problem day and night. I came to find you today to solve the food problem, but I want to see the little Nagas and the rest first. The food Yunjoga brought today was specially prepared for the little Nagas, the old, the weak, the women and the children. Okay, the little Nagas and the rest are under the tree. Last time, they came out to bask in the sun and felt much more energetic. They aren't as soft as before. Now, we bring them out to bask in the sun every day, Meng introduced. However, they had to wear a hood every time they basked in the sun, so they didn't stay too long. Most of the time, they still stayed in the wooden house. This is good. Yunjoga came to the big tree in front of the nursery. He saw 5 little Nagas crawling on the ground, their short green tails wriggling. They were indeed much better than last time. What did they eat today? Yunjoga looked at the female Huahua who was in charge of taking care of the little Nagas. They ate little bugs, little mice, little swallows. Huahua waved her fingers as she introduced them. Yunjoga looked at the little Nagas' flat bellies. In such a difficult situation, it was already very rare for the tribe to be able to save food for the sick and weak. It was impossible for them to eat well. I have a bag of food here for the little ones. Yunjoga handed the food he prepared to Meng. Thank you so much. Meng took the bag excitedly. After opening it, he found a lot of jerky. Just the smell alone told him that it was delicious and filling. He resisted the urge to drool and put away the bag. He said to Yunjoga solemnly, "Don't worry, Miss Yun. I'll definitely leave these things for the cubs. I won't steal them for myself. I trust you." Yunjoga felt sorry for the skinny Nagas when he saw how serious Meng was. He looked at them with hungry eyes. He initially wanted to give the little Nagas a checkup before making them eat grass, but it seemed like he had to take care of this first. Meng, I'm going to try to grow something called grass eating here. I need a wide piece of land. It doesn't need to be too fertile, but it's fine too, Yunjoga said. There's a piece of land behind our tribe that was originally going to grow gaga grass, but some places were polluted by the aura of death. Can you take a look? Meng said eagerly. Ever since the Black Rain, there was less land suitable for plants to grow in the hidden realm. Although the gaga grass's adaptability was not bad, it could not grow in a place polluted by the death chi. If the food that Lady Yun brought could adapt better than the gaga grass, it would be a great thing for their tribe and all the beast men in the arcane realm. Sure, bring me there first. Yunjoga followed Meng to the back of the tribe and saw a large piece of land with black and brown stripes. The black color was due to the aura of death, while the brown color was normal land. Chapter 499. Miss Yun, do you think this land is okay? Meng asked. This land wasn't so polluted before, but as time passed, there was more and more black. Yes. Yunjoga nodded and said to Feifei, "Can you convert the death chi on this land into life force?" This was Yunjoga's first time growing food in front of the orcs. He had to succeed to shock them. Of course. Feifei flapped its black and white wings and flew to the land. It started circling from the edge. Black death chi flew from the ground into its left black wing and then extended to the right white wing. Then, it turned into life force and returned to the land. The modeled land began to change. As Feifei moved forward, there was less and less black and more brown. Meng rubbed his eyes, afraid that he was seeing things. The dead land is really reviving, it's really reviving. The Nagas were all very excited. Even Aze and military advisor were very excited. Although the eagle men weren't good at farming, as long as there was living land, there would be more life force. This was great news for the entire secret realm. This must be the legendary divine beast, Meng yelled. Greetings, divine beast master. The Nagas all cheered. Divine beast master is mighty. Feifei heard the orc's undisguised praise and felt very proud. She raised her proud head and flapped her black and white wings even more vigorously. She didn't feel tired at all flying around. Okay, come back quickly. Yunjoga saw that Feifei had already played too much and quickly called it back. There's still a little bit that hasn't been converted. Feifei looked at the black at the corner. It would feel uncomfortable if it wasn't cleaned. I have a use for that bit. Yunjoga still needed to test the situation of eating grass in the dead land. Okay. Feifei returned to Yunjoga's shoulder unwillingly. Its small eyes were still staring at the Black Death Chi. Good girl, there will be opportunities for you to perform in the future. Yunjoga fed her 2 cherry pills. This secret realm was full of dead lands. She could play all she wanted, but she might not want to play anymore. Miss Yun, did you bring this divine beast? Meng Qi looked at Feifei fervently. Such a small, cute, and special butterfly was definitely not born in this damned place. It's called Feifei. It's just a little butterfly with some abilities. It's not some mythological beast. Don't flatter it too much, lest it becomes lazy and doesn't work in the future, Yunjoga said half-jokingly. Feifei, this tsundere, was already very difficult to discipline normally. If she were to be praised to the skies by these orcs, would she still want to live? Yes. Meng immediately shut his mouth, fearing that Feifei would really give up his work. All right, step back a little. I am going to start planting the grass. Yunjoga took out the grass-eating essence that he had ground earlier and blew it toward the empty space before him. The yellow powder was scattered all over the ground. Then, it began to slowly protrude outwards, and small yellow grass seeds emerged. Little kid, lend me some of your wood power. Yunjoga was determined to perform a miracle in front of the orcs. Oh. The adorable little baby reluctantly transferred his power of nature into Yunjoga's body. A faint green spot appeared in Yunjoga's hand. She flicked it toward the small yellow grass, and the fine green light rippled like a gentle green wave. The small grass that smelled the grass-eating essence desperately emerged, and soon grew into an incomparably thick yellow grass. Each of them was as thick as an adult's thumb, and they looked very sturdy. All right. Yunjoga looked at the large patch of yellow grass and felt very proud. Sure enough, a good harvest made people happy. How do I eat this? Is it the same as gaga grass? Meng asked hesitantly. Although orcs could also eat vegetables, fruits, and grass, they were carnivores after all. Eating too much grass would make them nauseous. It's not the same. This is mainly eaten after it's cooked. Yunjoga broke off a grass-eating grass, and saw that the broken section was solid white, similar to rice. Then, she dug down the roots of the grass-eating grass. Each of them was as round as a potato, and they were also very filling. Moreover, when the grass-eating grass matured, it would automatically produce grass seeds, and so, even if all the grass-eating grass was dug up, they would immediately germinate after a rain. At most, they could be eaten in 7 days. It could be said to be a treasure that could resist hunger. Then how about we try it now? Meng said impatiently. As long as they could eat their fill, they could even eat grass. Gaga grass could not fill them, and eating too much would make their stomach feel empty. You guys cut the grass and rice down now, then break the outer yellow shell. The other group of people will dig out the potatoes underneath. Yunjoga gave the big grass eaters a new name without any creativity. Miss Yun, how do we break this grass? Meng pinched it lightly, and the yellow and white colors were all crushed together. Just use the right amount of strength to crush their shells. Yunjoga roughly explained the meaning of shedding the shells. The intelligent and capable Naga quickly grasped it. They cut a batch of grass-eating grass and placed it on the ground. With a roll of their tails, they easily shed their shells, leaving behind the white grass. Don't throw away these grass shells. We can feed them to those herbivores such as elk. Yunjoga saw quite a few starving herbivores. Many plants that survived in the black rain had mutated into a poisonous red color. There was very little green left. If these animals really starved to death, it would definitely be a terrifying disaster. They won't eat it even if we take it, Meng said with difficulty. Those guys were cunning and avoided them when they saw them from afar. You guys collect them and let the eagle race feed them in their territory. Yunjoga planned to spread the grass-eating grass, especially in places with the most animals, such as the river or the depths of the forest. Only by maintaining the ecological balance would this secret realm not continue to decline. Okay, we'll do it immediately. Meng nodded. He felt this Miss Yun was a very kind person. Following her was definitely the right choice. I'll go pluck the silk grass now. The nets weaved from it are the best, Zhe volunteered. The silk grass grew on the other side of the blue water lake. It would take the Naga a long time to swim over. Go. Yunjoga nodded. He was very happy to see the Naga and eagle race coexisting peacefully. Zhe immediately took the two eagle race warriors and flew away. Then let's start a fire and cook the grass potatoes first. Meng looked at the pile of grass potatoes on the side and almost drooled. He wanted to eat them raw. Chapter 500. Let's cook it. Yunjoga also wanted to know how the roots tasted and if they could fill their stomachs. Meng immediately organized the Nagas to build a bonfire and put a big stone basin of water on it. Then, they started a fire. Another group of Nagas were busy washing the round potatoes and throwing them into the water. By the way, I remember that dummy can breathe fire. Don't you Nagas have similar special abilities? Yunjoga asked Meng. His Highness Ling Fei of the eagle race, other than being very fat, has the special ability to breathe fire. That was given to him by God. The other orcs don't have it. Meng shook his head. Other than their bodies being stronger than wild beasts, there was nothing special about them. That was why they were so helpless when the black rain came. Oh. Yunjoga nodded. It seemed that Dummy's fireball had something to do with the golden light in his head. He didn't know where the golden light came from and what it had to do with this secret land. Yunjoga was getting more and more curious. At this time, Zhe descended from the sky with a large pile of gray grass. He kept shouting, "The grass is here, the grass is here." Meng immediately told his people to distribute the grass and weave a net to sift out the shells. Thanks for your hard work, Zhe. Yunjoga smiled. It wasn't hard at all. Zhe grinned and wiped the sweat off his forehead. The military counselor silently handed over a cup of water. Zhe drank while staring at the big stone pot. Then, he spat the water on the military counselor. Wow, the water is boiling. The potatoes are floating. Zhe didn't see anything and pointed at the stone pot excitedly. The military counselor wiped the water off his face. He wanted to press Zhe's head into the stone pot and cook it. Miss Yun, is it edible? Meng gulped. Yellow bulbs the size of eggs floated up and down, emitting a faint aroma. It should be about time. You guys try one that floats up first. Yunjoga wasn't sure if it was cooked. Let me do it. Zay wanted to reach his hand into the pot but was slapped away by the military advisor. This is the Naga race's pot. It should be Chief Meng who does it first. Since they were going to form an alliance, they had to respect each other. The military advisor was very particular about rules. It doesn't matter who comes, but it's too dangerous for Brother Zay to use his hands. It's better to use something. But I think it's better to let Lady Yun go first. Meng fawningly handed a wooden spoon with a long handle to Yunjoga. This was something he had made in a hurry. Bootlicker, Zay muttered to himself. He regretted not thinking of this. The military counselor also felt that Meng's move was too despicable. It was simply shameless to flatter Yunjoga. Yunjoga couldn't help but find it funny as he watched the battle between the Eagle tribe and the Naga tribe. Let me do it, in case the water splashes on you. In the end, it was Zishang who made a move. He scooped up all the floating potatoes and placed them into a large stone bowl beside him. I'll help you taste it first. Zishang naturally wanted to be the first person to test the poison. He opened the potato and revealed the yellow fruit inside. He took a bite and slowly nodded. It's okay, it's edible. I'll try. Yunjoga took the other half from Zishang and put it in his mouth. It was a bit sweet and glutinous. It tasted good, at least a bit better than the potatoes. He just didn't know if it suited the orc's taste. All of you, try it. Yunjoga let Meng distribute the potatoes. They cooked 20 potatoes this time. The orcs who could try it were very limited. Zay was impatient and couldn't wait to eat it. Then, he touched his stomach and said in surprise, "Sigh, my stomach doesn't seem that hungry anymore. It's small, but the portion is enough. It's much better than the gaga grass." The military counselor chewed slowly and gave a very high evaluation. "Oh my God, it's too delicious." Meng took a bite and exclaimed exaggeratedly. His beautiful face showed the most sincere expression. He said to Yunjoga, "Thank you, Lady Yun, for bringing precious food to our tribe." The other Nagas also got up to express their gratitude. Despicable. Zay gritted his teeth. Why didn't he think of this? The military counselor felt he lost again. The eagle race had to be even more shameless to deal with a despicable snake man like Meng. They definitely couldn't let Meng get ahead of them next time. No need to be so polite. Hurry up and cook the rice. Everyone will have a full meal tonight, Yunjoga said. Good. When the serpent men heard the word full, they exclaimed in unison. Okay, I'm going to see the little Nagas. You guys continue. It would be enough for them to harvest all the grass. I'll go with you. Wei, you stay here. Meng threw everything to his men. He was determined to take this opportunity to improve his favorability. Let's go. Yunjoga returned to the little Nagas. The 5 little Nagas had just eaten the food Yunjoga brought and were lying comfortably on the grass mat under the tree. Hearing Yunjoga and the others coming over, the 5 little Nagas stood up at the same time and said in a soft voice, "Thank you, Lady Yun, for bringing the food. You're the best person in the world. Without you, we'd be dead. Thank you for saving us." Although these words were obviously taught by adults, Yunjoga was very satisfied with the little Nagas' current state compared to before when they couldn't even straighten their bodies. These children were very tenacious. They were indeed beastmen. This way, she could help them solve some problems before Dummy woke up. Fei, can you get rid of the death chi in their bodies? Yunjoga asked Fei. A large part of the little Naga's demonic chi was made up of death chi. If they could get rid of this part, they could leave that dark wooden house and return to their parents. No, their death chi is all inside their bodies. I can't get rid of it if I can't touch it. Fei Fei shook its head. It could only get rid of the death qi that was exposed on the ground. The death qi in a person's body was wrapped in layers of things. It really couldn't do it. Yunjioge thought about it and asked, "What if I have a way for you to touch their bodies? Then I have the confidence to help them get rid of it." Fei Fei looked at the little Nagas who were stunted and felt very sorry for them. "Okay, then you take a rest and be ready to work at any time." Yunjioge closed his eyes and called out to the little baby again. "Help me find a plant that's as long as an arm, as thick as a little finger, hollow inside, and contains a little spiritual power." Chapter 501. Master, why do you always ask me to find such uncreative things? The little baby was dissatisfied. Thinking back to the sky garden that he was in charge of, the most beautiful spiritual flowers and spiritual trees in the world were planted. The entire garden was filled with dense spiritual power and the fragrance of flowers. How enjoyable that was! If I ask you to find it, then find it. I don't have much divine power left. If you waste my time talking nonsense, believe it or not, I'll seal you into the big grass eater. Yunjioge threatened. I don't want to go to that disgusting place. This kind of thing that could be eaten by humans and beasts was simply lowering its style. The little baby didn't dare to say any more. He quickly found something that met Yunjioge's requirements and quickly planted it. Yunjioge opened her eyes, and there were 5 pure white and soft plants that looked like sheep intestines in her hands. She pinched the heads of the 5 sheep intestines into sharp shapes, and then fused the other end together. Little kids, I'll stab this sharp head into your hands later, but you don't have to be afraid. This is for healing, it won't be very painful, Yunjioge said softly to the little snake people. The little snake people didn't say anything, but the tips of their taut tails showed how nervous they were. Good kids, be obedient. After you're healed, you'll still have meat pancakes to eat. Yunjioge used his trump card. The little snake people's eyes lit up, and they immediately rushed to stretch out their arms. Whip mine, whip mine. To them, there was nothing more terrifying than hunger. You guys lie down first. Yunjioge made the 5 little snake people's heads form a circle inwards, and then he stabbed the sharp heads of the 5 tubes into the little snake people's blood vessels. Then, he called Fei Fei over. Try and see if you can touch the death energy in their bodies like this. Yunjioge tied the big head to Fei Fei's black wings. Yes, but it's a little slow. Fei Fei stopped on the branch above the little snake people's heads and began to slowly flap its wings. Waves of black color flowed from the little snake people's bodies to Fei Fei's shoulders through the tubes, and then it turned into life energy that landed on their bodies. The pale skin of the 5 little Nagas slowly regained some color, and the dull color of their little snake tails also regained some luster. Very good, Fei Fei, keep it up. Yunjioge shouted to Fei Fei. Fei Fei did not leave her, but continued to maintain the rhythm. The black substance in the bodies of these little snakes was very viscous. They couldn't be waved around randomly like they were dealing with the soil. They had to be precise and rhythmic. Seeing that Fei Fei was serious, Yunjioge didn't dare to disturb it again, so he stayed by the side obediently. The scales on the tails of the 5 little Nagas became brighter and brighter, as if they had been dipped in oil, emitting a rich vitality. Miss Yun, can these little bastards be saved? Meng asked excitedly and nervously. I'm just extracting the deathly aura from their bodies. I can't cure them completely. But don't worry, the cure won't be too far away. Yunjioge was afraid that Meng would give up on these little Nagas. Alright, then I'll thank you on their behalf. Meng Long nodded his head. Right now, the tribe was willing to raise the little Nagas because they were still young. When they reached adulthood, they would have to feed themselves. If they were too weak, they would definitely die. At this moment, Zhe turned around and happily said to Yunjoga, "Miss Yun, the rice is cooked. It's so fragrant. I'm so full after just one bowl." God knows how long it had been since he had a full stomach. "Miss Yun, try it." Military advisor brought over a clean stone bowl. There was light yellow rice inside, emitting a faint aroma. It was very delicious. Yunjoga tasted a mouthful. The rice was a bit coarse and hard to chew. There was no spirit force inside, but she still felt full. But with her current appetite, she was full after half a bowl. It wasn't good to throw away the rest, so she gave it to Zishang. Zishang silently took it and poured it all into his mouth. "Miss Yun, can we plant these rice at Eagle Cliff?" Zhe asked eagerly. These herbivores were really good to grow and filled. It would be great if they could promote it at Eagle Cliff. Many of their partners were herbivores. He even thought that if Eagle Cliff had a source of food, the Eagle tribe wouldn't be afraid of being single anymore. Eagle Cliff can plant them. Just scatter them on the walls, but it's not easy to harvest. Yunjoga found that the roots of these herbivores were very tough. They could even pierce through rocks, so planting them on the walls was no problem. "That's no problem, you just need to help us plant them. We'll think about the rest ourselves," military advisor quickly said. As long as there was food, harvesting was no problem. They could even pull them out one by one. "Okay, I'll help you plant them when I get back." Yunjoga nodded. Even without Dummy, seeing that the Eagle tribe never joined Nangongyu, she was worth training. "Then I'll send someone back to Eagle Cliff now." "No, I'll go back myself." Zhe, you stay here and guard Miss Yun." Military advisor felt that sending anyone was unreliable when it came to food. It was better to do it himself. "Go, I'll be here." Zhe patted his chest. "Mang, bring some rice and potatoes for them to see," Yunjoga said to Mang. "I'll go prepare it now." Mang personally took a huge brown leather bag and kept stuffing the rice and potatoes inside. "It's enough, I can't carry it if it's too heavy." Military advisor quickly stopped him. Miss Yun was going to plant at Eagle Cliff later anyway. There was no need to act like a hungry ghost. "Okay, take it." Meng handed the bag over. Although his heart was bleeding, he felt much better when he turned his head and saw the large patch of grass. Military advisor took the bag and flapped his wings to fly to Eagle Cliff. He wanted to go directly to Grandpa's place, but he found many people sighing in front of a goose nest. A goose cries could be faintly heard, "Gwa, gwa, wake up." "What's wrong?" Military advisor quickly flew over. A goose partner fainted. "She's been calling for a long time, but she can't wake up," an eagle man replied. "Let me see." Military advisor quickly threw the bag to the corner and strode in. A goose lair was very clean and tidy. At this moment, the petite rabbit girl was lying on the ground covered with hay. Her skinny body was like a small bowl. Her partner, Gu, hugged her tightly and couldn't breathe. Gu, what's wrong with Gua?" Military advisor asked. "I don't know. She suddenly fainted. She won't wake up no matter what." Military advisor, don't you know a Miss Yun who can treat illnesses? Can you ask her to take a look at Gua? Gu begged. "Let her go first and let me take a look," military advisor said in a low voice. Gu hurriedly laid the fruit flat. He saw Gua Air's long ears drooping down listlessly. Her face was yellow, and her eyes were closed. She was extremely skinny. Her limbs were long and thin, but her stomach was slightly bulging. She looked a little pregnant. Chapter 502. Ah Ping, bring your partner over to see if Guo is pregnant. Although the orcs didn't care about male and female intimacy, he hadn't had a child before, so he had to find an experienced orc. An older orc immediately brought his bull tribe companion over. The man with horns on his head, who was also skinny, touched Guo's belly and said with a nod, "That's right. She's pregnant." Guo is actually pregnant, but why did she faint? Gu asked in a low voice. He was exhausted from looking for food every day and fell asleep as soon as he came back. He didn't even notice Guo was pregnant. Damn it. Pregnant females have bigger appetites. She's hungry. The ox man sighed. Although Gu had tried very hard, food was too hard to find. Guo was introverted and patient. She wouldn't tell Gu no matter how hungry she was. "I'll go find food for her now." Gu was about to rush out. "Wait." The military counselor quickly stopped Gu and said, "I just got some food from the Naga tribe. You can give it to Guo later." "What food?" Gu said warily. "We don't eat gaga grass." Everyone in the Eaglemen knew there was something wrong with the gaga grass. "Do you think I'm stupid? It's the food that Miss Yun made. Bring some back for me to try." "Oh right, where's my grandpa?" The military counselor looked around and didn't find his grandpa. Usually, when something like this happened, the grandpa would take the lead and be the first to rush over. "I don't know. I don't see him. I think he's in the nursery." "No, I saw him come out of the nursery and go to the warehouse." The Eaglemen all talked at once. "I'll go find him. Cook these for Guo." The military counselor poured out a dozen potatoes and flew to the warehouse with the rest of the food. The wooden door of the warehouse was half open. A skinny figure lay in front of it. "Grandpa." The military counselor was scared out of his wits. He rushed over to help the grandpa up. The grandpa's face was yellow, his lips were cracked, and his breath was weak. "Ah Ping, ah Hui, come here quickly." After arranging for his tribesmen to take care of the old man, the military advisor immediately flew to the Naga territory to find Yunjoga. At that moment, Yunjoga was examining the little Naga who had just finished healing. "Very good, most of the death aura on your body has disappeared. You won't be afraid of light anymore. Take off the hood." Yunjoga personally took off the black hood on the heads of the 5 little Nagas. This was the first time she had seen the little Nagas. Unlike the little chicks of the Eagleman race, these little snake people were all quite beautiful. Their eyelashes were especially long, and their pale skin gave off a sinister vibe, giving them a dark sense of beauty. Although Yunjoga wasn't obsessed with appearances, he was still very happy to see that the child he saved was so cute. Patriarch, father, mother. The 5 little Nagas opened their eyes. The first thing they saw was their chief, who had been protecting them, and then their parents. "Children, come here quickly." The parents of the 5 little Nagas rushed forward to hug their children. The Naga race didn't have countless eggs in one litter like snakes. Most of them laid 1 egg at a time, and it was already good to have 2, so the babies were just as precious to them. Feifei was very touched by the tears of the little Naga's family reunion. It landed beside Yunjoga and said in a low voice, "This is the first time I feel that it's not bad to evolve into this appearance." "Why? Did you not like your appearance in the past?" Yunjoga was surprised. Feifei had always been very smug and confident, and she thought that Feifei liked her appearance a lot. "Yes, it's a little boring to only have black and white. I like colors." Feifei dreamed that it could become a colorful butterfly, sprinkling beautiful spirit light instead of black death aura. However, after saving these 5 little Nagas today, its heart was filled with a strong sense of pride, which made it happier than its appearance. Although your body is only black and white, it's fine as long as your heart is colored. Yunjoga patted Feifei's head. This smug and pretentious little guy finally realized its importance. Yes. Feifei nodded. Suddenly, a warm current surged from its chest and surged toward the wings on both sides. The black and white wings suddenly emitted a faint light, and in the end, they turned into two Tai Chi fish imprinted on the wings. It's evolved. Zi Shang was surprised. The yin-yang reincarnation butterfly was a strange creature in the world. It was already very miraculous for it to be formed, and evolving was even more difficult. He had seen a yin-yang reincarnation butterfly evolve once every 100 years, and it had to be fed countless spirit herbs to accumulate. In his eyes, Feifei was completely free-range. Other than the 2 bottles of spirit beast pills every month, he usually fed it a few pills when he was praising it, and it actually evolved. If this got out, people's jaws would probably drop. However, other than Yunjoga, no one else would casually take out the yin-yang reincarnation butterfly and use it. They basically kept it in the spirit garden for fear of being seen. This pattern is so ugly. Feifei looked at the black and white fish in disgust. No, it's very beautiful. Continue to work hard, and one day, it will definitely give birth to the most beautiful pattern in the world, Yunjoga comforted perfunctorily. That's a must. Feifei was happy again. Meng, who had been silently observing from the side, did not know what had happened to the little butterfly, but he instinctively guessed that it should be something good. He said happily, "Miss Yun, today is really a joyous occasion. Our tribe plans to hold a bonfire banquet. Please stay and celebrate with us." Their tribe had not held a bonfire banquet for a long time, so he decided to properly celebrate and build a good relationship with Yunjoga. Sure. Yunjoga nodded. She also wanted to properly rope in the Naga tribe, and then ask about Nangong Yu's situation, as well as the surrounding tribes that could be reclaimed. Then I will give the order now. Meng excitedly announced the order to the Naga tribe. They would hold a bonfire banquet tonight, and they would all be provided with grass rice and potatoes. The Naga tribe let out a deafening cheer. The military advisor had arrived at this moment. "Miss Yun, it's bad. My grandfather has fainted." The military advisor suddenly landed in front of Yunjoga and shouted. "What happened to Elder Bai? He was fine when they left." "I don't know. When I returned, I saw him fainting in front of the warehouse, and he still hasn't woken up," the military advisor said anxiously. "Then let's go back immediately." Yunjoga made a prompt decision. Elder Bai was the spiritual leader of the Eaglemen tribe. If something happened to him, the Eaglemen tribe would definitely fall into chaos. This was something she absolutely did not want to see. Chapter 503. Lady Yun, Master Yi Zi, do you want to bring some food back? Meng asked with concern. There's no need for that. Just stay here. I'll visit you again when I'm free. Remember to keep an eye on Oracle Axion. Forget about the bonfire party, Yunjoga reminded them before he left. If she and Zi Shang were here, they would be able to block out the noise of the Naga race, but it wasn't suitable now. Lady Yun and Master Yi Zi, don't worry. I know what to do. Meng wasn't dumb. The elder of the eagle race was in critical condition, but they were holding a bonfire party here. Wasn't that stupid? Okay. Yunjoga nodded and sat on the seat of the eagle race. They quickly flew towards Eagle Cliff. The outside of Elder Bai's cave was filled with eaglemen. All of them had a pained and lost expression. Ever since the old chief sacrificed himself to protect them, Elder Bai became their spiritual leader. No matter how hard the days were, they could survive. If Elderby left, what would happen to the eagle race? His Highness had become an idiot. Advisor was smart but lacking courage. Zay was brave but lacking a brain. Who else could lead the eagle race? Everyone move aside, Lady Yun is here, Zay yelled from afar. All the eaglemen moved aside and let Zay and the others fly in. As soon as Zishang landed, he protected Yunjoga and walked into Elderby's cave. Elderby was still unconscious. If it wasn't for the occasional rise and fall of his chest, he would look no different from a dead man. Yunjoga checked Elderby's pulse and frowned. Elderby was old and worried for a long time. He was at the end of his rope. Lady Yun, how's my grandpa? Advisor asked. I can wake him up, but he probably doesn't have much time left. Yunjoga shook her head. Advisor's eyes reddened. He gritted his teeth and didn't beg Yunjoga to save his grandpa. He just asked, how long does my grandpa have left? If he recuperates well, he should have a year left. However, remember not to be tired, angry, and worried. You must rest well. Yunjoga said 1 year too much. How long until His Highness wakes up? Advisor asked. Dummy will wake up in 7 days at most. Dummy was in the most important period of recovery, so Yunjoga didn't dare to forcibly wake him up. Alright, then I'll have to trouble Miss Yun to wake my grandfather up first. The military counselor bowed deeply to Yunjoga. Yunjoga took out the thunder fire needles and pierced them into Elderby's meridians, the Taiyang and the Huku acupoints. Elderby shuddered and slowly opened his eyes. He looked at the military counselor and Yunjoga in confusion and asked hoarsely, "What's wrong with me?" "Grandpa, you were so tired that you collapsed at the entrance of the warehouse just now," the military counselor said while suppressing his sadness. "Looks like I'm really getting old. I originally wanted to go to the warehouse to see if there was anything to take out for the kid, but I didn't expect to collapse just as I reached the door." Elderby shook his head helplessly. Just as he was about to get up, he was held down by the military counselor. "Grandfather, Miss Yun said that you only have 1 year left to live. You must rest quietly and not tire yourself out. However, His Royal Highness will wake up in 7 days." Elderby was stunned for a moment. Then he nodded calmly and said, "All right. I can see His Royal Highness wake up with my own eyes. I can be considered to be worthy of the deceased patriarch." He knew his body very well. He had long been unable to do as he wished and had been holding on by force. When he collapsed this time, he thought that he was going to see the old patriarch. He didn't expect to live for another year. It was not bad. "Grandpa, there's another good news. Miss Yun has grown food. It's called grass rice and grass potatoes." The military counselor walked to the entrance of the cave and shouted, "Do you still have the boiled grass potatoes left?" "Yes, yes, yes." A goose voice came from afar. Then he brought 9 cooked grass potatoes over. The military counselor had left 12 potatoes, and he cooked all of them. Gua ate 3 and said that she didn't want to eat any more. She asked him to send the food back to the military counselor. Military counselor took the 9 grass potatoes and gave 2 to a Gu. "Now that Gua has children, you have to take care of them. You also have to pay attention to yourself. Once the children were born, they would have 1 more mouth to feed, and they would be very tired." "Okay." Agu didn't reject it. He thought that he would return it to the military counselor when he could find more food. The military counselor placed the grass potatoes in front of his grandpa and bragged about the magic of grass eating. Finally, he said, "Other than this grass potato, there's also grass rice. It's very fragrant when cooked. It's very filling." "That's right. I ate 2 bowls there. I'm very full. I'm full now. I can fly 5 laps around Blue Water Lake without a problem. Ozzy patted his belly and said to Elderby, "Is that grass eating really that easy to grow?" Elderby looked at Yunjoga eagerly and excitedly as if he was looking at a god. "Later, I can help you plant all the rock walls here. You just have to harvest like this," Yunjoga said. "No problem, you can plant it on this side of the wall. When the time comes, I'll ask them to open up a plank road on the side and make a rope ladder from the top. Even the partners of the eagle tribe can be harvested." Elderby immediately told him what he was thinking. "You can also plant it in our nest," Ozzy said while drooling. Thinking about sleeping and food made him smile even in his dreams. Grass eating isn't suitable for growing in caves. Yunjoga shook his head. However, Eagle Cliff's rock wall area was limited. It probably wouldn't be enough for them to eat even if they were all planted. She had to find something more suitable for them. It would be best if she could plant it in their nest. Thus, she went to find the little baby and told him her request. "There's a kind of moss that's quite suitable for them. It tastes bad, but at least it can fill their stomachs." The little baby had already understood the current situation of the orcs in Yunjoga's Sea of Consciousness. He organized all the seeds in the demonic tripod. There were many seeds, but they were all extremely precious and required extremely high spirit chi. Like the big grass eater, it could only find a green moss after rummaging through the whole place. This moss had been a tribute from the merfolk. It was said that it could grow in the sea or by the river. It would glow with a light green light, and it was fat and delicious. "Okay, this is it. Show me." Then, Yunjoga had a palm-sized green crystal in his hand. Luckily, the seeds that those races had offered were all essence. They just needed to be ground up to grow quickly. If it was an ordinary seed, it would take a long time to grow and the chances of dying were very high. "Miss Yun, what is this?" Zay looked curiously at Yunjoga's hand and then pinched his own as though curious about how something could grow on its own. Chapter 504. This is green moss. You can plant it in your cave. You can eat it when it grows. It's not as good as eating grass, but it's not bad. Yunjoga showed the moss to everyone. "Then let's try it." Zay said impatiently. "Then let's try it at Elderby's place. You guys go get a bucket of clean water and 2 baskets of mud." Yunjoga felt that if Elderby could see food every day when he opened his eyes, he might be able to live longer. I'll go. Zay immediately flapped his wings and flew out. The eagleman guarding the door heard that they were going to plant food and immediately followed him excitedly. Soon, a large stone vat of water and 2 baskets of yellow mud were placed in front of Yunjoga. "You tell me, I'll plant it." Zishang didn't want Yunjoga to touch the dirty mud. "First, rub a few layers of mud evenly on the cave walls," Yunjoga said. "This is easy, there's no need for Master Yi Si to do it herself. I'll do it. If there's anything wrong, Miss Yun, you can tell me." Zay was smart for once. He was excited to plant the food himself. "Okay, you do it." Yunjoga nodded. This was easy. Zishang didn't have to do it himself. Zay quickly rubbed the mud on the cave walls. It looked very even. "Okay, that's it." Yunjoga saw that the thickness was about right and quickly stopped Zay. She ground some of the moss into powder and sprinkled it evenly on the soil. She said, "Continue to spread it." Zay rubbed 2 more layers. The entire cave was filled with the smell of wet mud. "That's it. If it's dry tomorrow morning, sprinkle some water." It'll grow in 2 days at most. Yunjoga didn't use her wood spirit power on the moss. After all, they were going to plant eating grass later. They had to be frugal. 2 more days. Zay was a little disappointed. He thought it would grow out immediately like grass. 2 days is very fast. Leave the moss first. We'll go plant eating grass now. Yunjoga's words got Zay's attention. Okay. Zay nodded and then asked hesitantly, will the grass grow out immediately like the nagas? Shut up, Zay. Elder Bai picked up a stone from the ground and threw it at Zay. He said angrily, it's already a great gift from Miss Yun to help us grow food. How dare you ask for more? I'm just asking. Zay shrunk his head and didn't dare to make a sound. Food was too important. The sooner he saw the grass grow, the better he would be. Don't worry, it will grow out immediately, just like the snake men. Yunjoga only planned to use his wood power here with the Eagle Men tribe one more time. He wouldn't be able to do the same to any other tribe he came to seek shelter with. Great, thank you, Miss Yun. Zay burst into joy. Then let's go. Yunjoga had originally wanted the Eagle tribe to carry her around the cliff, but Zishang had snatched this job away. In Zishang's eyes, Yunjoga was fragile. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he did not want her to take the risk. Scatter it evenly. Yunjoga gave the grass seeds to Zishang. She trusted him wholeheartedly. Zishang didn't say anything. This little thing was too easy for her. After one round, the grass powder was scattered all over the cliff. Yunjoga tricked and coaxed some more plant essence from the cute baby and used it on these grass seeds. A large patch of yellow grass spread on the gray cliff. It was extremely shocking. The Eagle Men tribe shouted excitedly. Cheerful shouts and laughter rang out incessantly. Gua, do you see? We won't have to worry about food anymore. The child will definitely be born well, a goose said happily while hugging Gua. Emichim. Gua smiled shyly, showing her 2 rabbit teeth. She stared at the long yellow grass outside without blinking. There was so much food. The Eagle Men tribe couldn't finish it at all. It would be great if she could bring some for her tribe. They would definitely love it. As soon as the idea popped up in Gua's mind, she gave it up. She was already with a Gu. She should think about the Eagle Men tribe. Otherwise, it would only bring trouble to a Gu. Yunjoga planted all the grass and instructed the Eagle Men to harvest it. Soon, the Eagle Men weaved a rope ladder out of the silk grass and animal skins and tied it firmly to the tree at the top of the cliff. After that, they hung a basket made of grass and an animal skin bag on their chests and hung it on the rope ladder, harvesting the plants. After one batch was harvested, the other batch started digging the potatoes. They were not slow either. While the Eagle Men tribe was harvesting the grass, Yunjoga and Fei Fei extracted the death aura from Shui and the other young Eagle Men. The devil chi on their bodies was lighter than that of the little serpent men. After pulling out part of the devil chi, they would immediately recover. Shui could even flap his little wings and fly low in the cave, happily flying around him up and down. You must be tired too. Go back and rest. Zishang said firmly to Yunjoga with a gentle attitude. Yes, Miss Yun, Master Yi, go back and rest. Don't tire yourself out. Elder Bai nodded. Yunjoga also felt sore all over. She nodded and returned to Dummy's nest under the protection of Zay and military advisor. Although Zay really wanted to stay at Eagle Cliff and harvest the grass with everyone, he reluctantly gave up when he thought of Elder Bai's warning. The most important person in the entire secret realm was Yunjoga. As long as she was here, food wouldn't be a problem. Without her, the orc race would return to the poor and hungry state of the past. It might even be more difficult. Thinking of this, Zay wanted to stay by Yunjoga's bed every night. Okay, you can go back. We don't need you here. Yunjoga waved the overly enthusiastic Zay and military advisor away. Okay, then I'll go. Miss Yun, if you need anything, you must tell us immediately. We'll stay on the cliff, Zay ordered again and again. F***ck off. In the end, Zishang kicked him away. Zay flapped his wings and flew around the entrance of the cave, feeling wronged. Seeing that Zishang looked like he was going to kill him if he didn't get lost, he finally left with the military counselor. Yunjoga sat on the ground without a care for her image. She didn't feel it before, but now that she breathed a sigh of relief, she suddenly felt very tired. She couldn't even lift her arms. Do you want me to get you some water for a bath? Zishang walked behind Yunjoga and massaged her shoulders. Yunjoga was a little tempted, but when she saw the empty nest, she immediately shook her head. Never mind, we can't be too particular now. Take Dummy out and let me see how it is. Chapter 505. Zishang took Dummy out of the spirit beast bag when he heard that. Dummy was sleeping soundly, its belly rising and falling slightly. It kept smacking its beak in its dream. Who knew what delicious food it was dreaming of? Yunjoga opened her spirit eye and looked closely at Dummy's sea of consciousness. There was no sign of demonic chi reviving. Fatty Dummy, wake up. Yunjoga sighed and rubbed Dummy's hair before putting it back into the spirit beast bag. Rest, we still have to go negotiate with the eagle men tomorrow. Zishang hugged Yunjoga and laid down. Then, he told her about his plan. If we want to take over the tribes in this secret realm, it's best to start small. That way, it won't attract Nangong Yu's attention. Also, the eagle men have many herbivorous beasts as partners. These beasts are the weaker group in the secret realm. They're in the most difficult situation right now, so I want to start with them. Okay. Yunjoga nodded. For some reason, she thought of the long-eared, red-eyed rabbit girl and said, how about we start with the rabbit tribe? Okay, I'll let advisor and Zay ask tomorrow. It didn't matter which tribe Zishang started with. They had to be subdued in the end anyway. Okay. Yunjoga slowly closed her eyes and breathed heavily. Then, she fell into a deep sleep. Zishang kissed Yunjoga's forehead and placed his hand on her stomach. There was no movement there. It was as though the little egg was asleep. If only you were really the son of life. Zishang sighed silently in his heart. Then, he pulled Yunjoga into his arms and closed his eyes. The next morning, Yunjoga woke up energetically. After washing up, she went to Eagle Cliff with Zishang. Yesterday, the rock wall was still yellow, but today, it was completely bare, leaving only faint yellow grass roots. You guys cut it overnight? Yunjoga asked advisor. Emichim Elder Bai was worried that a long night would bring trouble. Advisor nodded. After hearing that the grass rice and grass potatoes could be stored for a long time, Elder Bai made a prompt decision to have the clansmen harvest overnight. After distributing the grass rice and grass potatoes according to the number of people, the rest were stored in the warehouse for winter storage. Then sprinkle more water and let them grow faster. Yunjoga could understand the eagle race's actions. In fact, she was considering whether she should find a plane to plant a large amount of food and hoard it. She could use it as a weapon to rope in the smaller tribes. However, this involved management and storage, so he had to discuss it with the Eagle tribe and the Naga tribe. I'll go get the people to sprinkle water now. Advisor, send Lady Yun to Elder Bai. Zay had been thinking about the harvest last night and couldn't wait to leave. The military counselor sent Yun Joga into Elder Bai's lair. He noticed that the thick mud he had touched yesterday had grown a layer of grayish-green moss, which shone with a faint light. It grew out so quickly. The military counselor was very happy. He couldn't help but want to break off a piece and have a taste. Kid, don't move. Elder Bai rushed out and pushed his hand away. Then, he said excitedly to Yun Joga, Lady Yun, this moss is really good. There's actually salt in it. Is salt very important? Yun Joga was shocked. Did the orcs need to eat salt too? Of course it's important. Things with salt can give us strength and courage. In the past, we traded with the sea race, but ever since the Black Rain, death swamps have appeared everywhere. Even our Eaglemen race doesn't dare to fly there. Everyone is eating the coarse salt that was stored before. If we can't find a substitute, all the orcs will probably have to risk their lives to cross the death swamp. Elder Bai looked at Yun Joga with admiration. He wanted to kneel down and kiss her toes. He thought the moss was just a backup food. He didn't expect there to be salt. This was a lifesaver. Do you think we can use these two things to rope in other tribes? Yun Joga didn't expect the moss to have such a magical effect. This was not bad. Of course. Not to mention making them submit, even making them swear a blood oath of lifelong loyalty is not a problem. Elder Bai's tone was not exaggerated at all. In the current situation of the secret realm, those who could feed were the mothers, and those who could provide food were the fathers. Not to mention, Yun Joga could also help solve the problem of cubs and death chi. Yun Joga was now their god. Even he was willing to swear a blood oath, let alone the other orcs. There's no need to swear a blood oath. Go ask the partners of the Eagle tribe if there are any tribes that are willing to follow me. If there are, we can go find them. Yun Joga didn't hesitate to enslave others. She preferred mutual benefits. There's no need to ask. I can guarantee that they are willing. Right now, the closest tribes to our Eagle tribe are the Ox tribe and the Horse tribe. Which one do you want to go to first? Elder Bai asked. What about the Rabbit tribe? Zi Shang was still thinking about Yun Joga's words last night. The Rabbit tribe is a bit further away, but it shouldn't be a problem. How about I have a Gubringwa up now? Elder Bai was very proactive. Their Eagle tribe was the first to swear loyalty to Yun Joga. In the future, all the tribes that submitted would be under them. He had to stabilize this advantage in the early stages. There's no hurry. I still have something to discuss with you. Yun Joga wanted to find a place to plant grass and stock up on food. Elder Bai pondered for a moment, then asked, Miss Yun, do you want to build a tribe and let all the beast men live together and manage them together? If that was the case, it would be good too. With the current situation in the mystic realm, they needed to be united. Otherwise, those tribes might seem to submit on the surface, but they would have to rush them, threaten them, and even bribe them. It would be a waste of time. That's not what I mean. How much godly power would it take to build a tribe that could accommodate all the orcs? She wasn't in the mood for that right now. We want to build a city of orcs and manage all the orcs, Zi Shang suddenly said. Yun Joga's eyes widened as she looked at Zi Shang. She almost blurted out, Are you crazy? How could it be easy to build a city without demonic power? What do you mean by a city? Elder Bai was confused and didn't understand. It's a tribe built from earth. There are high walls and a moat outside. There are also houses for you to live in. Zi Shang gave a simple description. There's actually such a safe place. Elder Bai's eyes lit up, but they quickly dimmed. Such a city must be very difficult to build. Lady Ez, winter is coming. The most important thing for us now is to stock up on food. I'm afraid we don't have the time to help you complete such a great mission. Chapter 506. You don't have to worry about that. I have a way to build the city. You just have to subdue the nearby tribes as soon as possible. I hope that all the beastmen in this mystic realm can live in my city before winter arrives, Zishang said calmly. Yes, don't worry, Lady Ez. We will definitely complete the task. Although Elder Bai didn't trust him, she still agreed solemnly. Ez, come here. I have something to discuss with you. Yunjioge couldn't sit still. She felt that Zishang was joking. Take your time to discuss. I still have something to take care of. I'll be leaving first. Elder Bai flew out of her lair. Zishang, do you know what you're saying? Yunjioge looked at Zishang in disbelief. Of course. Zishang nodded. Then what do you plan to use to build the city? Is my divine power not enough to save people? Even if Yunjioge had excess divine power, she would use it to plant crops. That was what the beast men needed the most now. There's no need for you. Just leave Yin Shirley to me. Zishang had thought it through before saying such a thing. You want him to use Yin Qi to build the city? Yunjioge frowned. Although Yin Shirley was a gold core, he was greatly restricted when he entered the mystic realm. He probably didn't have the strength to do this. I want him to build a city made of earth, not a spirit city. It won't take much effort. The city Zishang wanted to build was a wall made of earth and a deep moat. The beast men could find a way to build the houses inside. It wouldn't be a problem at all. All right. Since you're confident, go ahead and try. Yunjioge passed the corpse refining bag to Zishang. She believed that Zishang wouldn't do something he wasn't confident in. Aren't you coming with me? Zishang frowned. We're not kids anymore. Do we have to play with mud hand in hand? You do your thing and I'll do mine. Let's settle things quickly and find Li Wei, Yunjioge said impatiently. Then be careful. Splitting up was the best solution. Zishang couldn't refuse. Oh, by the way, where are the seeds of the grass eaters? Yunjioge asked. I still have a use for them. Even if you go to the tribe now, you can't help them plant grass right away. Bring some food to help them first. It would be best if they could voluntarily come to you. Otherwise, why would they come to you when they had food and water? I got it. Go do what you need to do. Yunjioge waved his hand to chase him away. The most important thing was to hurry up and return. Then I'll go now, Zishang shouted towards the cliff. Ah, say, come here. Master Yisi has something to say. Yisi flew over with a potato in her mouth. Take me out for a spin. Zishang grabbed Ah Zai's feet and left the lair with him. Elder Bai only came in after Zishang had left. He wanted to ask but was too embarrassed to do so. Yisi has gone to build a city. I'll stay here and help you reclaim the tribe. What about Gua? Have you told her? I've talked to her. She said that she can represent her tribe and pledge her loyalty to you. She hopes that you can save her tribe as soon as possible, Elder Bai said. Gua was an orphan who had been raised by her clansmen since she was a child. Her clan had been ambushed by a pack of jackals and wolves, and she had accidentally fallen into the river when she was escaping. That was how Agu had saved her. Let's go now. Yunjioge couldn't bear it when he thought about the suffering of those gentle and weak little rabbit girls. Indeed, cuteness was the way to go. Elder Bai had originally wanted to tag along, but Yunjioge had strictly forbidden him from staying at Eagle Cliff to manage the situation and take a good rest. The military counselor nodded his head repeatedly. In the end, he brought Agu, Ah Ping, Ah Hui, and the other eagle men with him. Each eagle man carried a bag of about 30 grass potatoes and a bag of green moss. These were all food for the rabbit men. Agu didn't want to bring Guo along, but Guo insisted on going. She was usually very gentle, but when she became stubborn, even Agu couldn't do anything about it. He could only come to consult the military counselor. Of course, the military counselor didn't agree. In his heart, a pregnant female would only be a burden. Bringing her along would just be looking for trouble. In the end, Yunjioge examined Guo and found that her fetus was stable and wouldn't affect her mobility. The military counselor reluctantly agreed. Tell me if you're not feeling well, understand? Don't hold it in. Yunjioge looked at Guo's long and soft ears and really wanted to touch them, but to maintain his cold image, he didn't. Thank you, Miss Yun. Guo nodded shyly and fearfully. She also knew that she might cause trouble if she went along, but she really missed her clansmen who had taken care of her growing up, so she could only be willful for once. Ah Gu, take care of Guo. Don't let her fall, the military counselor ordered. Don't worry, she's safe. Gu took out a rope made of silk grass and tied Guo firmly to his chest. Only then did the military counselor and Ah Hui carry Yunjioge and fly in front. The other eagle men flew vigilantly beside them. The territory of the rabbit men used to be in the east of the grassland. After the disaster of the Black Rain, most of the grassland had been abandoned. They could only migrate to the mountains that still had some green left. Our clansman's territory is over there, Guo said while pointing at a small mound full of weeds from above. Let's go down, Yunjioge ordered. The military counselor brought the eagle men and Guo to the small mound. Chief Grandmother, Elder Ah Lang, I've brought some people to bring you food, Guo shouted. However, the small mound was strangely quiet. A breeze with a faint deathly aura blew past, and the half-yellow and half-green weeds kept swaying. Xiao Xia, Xiao Bai. Guo turned over the caves that were full of weeds one by one, but she didn't find any trace of her clansmen. She was so anxious that her forehead was covered in sweat. Yunjioge, the military counselor, and the other eagle men also searched everywhere, but they didn't find anything either. Don't panic, Guo. Maybe they're migrating again. Gu felt sorry for the panicking Guo and wiped her sweat. No, if they're migrating, they'll definitely leave a mark for other clansmen. Guo shook her head, and her little face was pale. I'm guessing that they were attacked. Yunjioge walked out of a cave at this time, holding a half-eaten carrot in his hand. Guo could smell the blood on the carrot. It was the scent of her clansmen. Her body couldn't help but shake, and she fainted after rolling her eyes. Guo, what's wrong with you? Gu screamed in fear, and quickly held her limp body. Don't be nervous. She just fainted because she was too excited. Help her into the cave to rest, Yunjioge comforted Gu. Hurry up and go in. The military counselor frowned. He didn't agree to bring Guo here before. She was indeed a failure. Gu didn't have time to thank him. He quickly carried Guo into the cave. Military counselor, what do you think about this? Yunjioge asked the military counselor. Chapter 507. I guess they migrated again after being discovered by the jackals and wolves. After the Black Rain, food became scarce, and many beasts were starving. The rabbit tribe was targeted once before, so it's very likely that they will be targeted again, military counselor analyzed cautiously. In the past, there was plenty of food in the Mystic Land, so the beasts were not very willing to fight the orcs. Now that the disaster of the Black Rain was over, the starving beasts became extremely ferocious. Sometimes, even the eagle tribe had to avoid them. What you said is very likely. Can you find the direction in which they migrated? Yunjoga asked. They seem to have left for a while, so it's a little difficult to find them. Military counselor paused and then said, and I don't understand why you are so obsessed with the rabbit tribe. If it was because of Gua-er's pregnancy, the other eagle tribe's partners were also pregnant. The ox tribe and the horse tribe were also very pitiful, and they were also waiting for their rescue. Compared to the rabbit tribe, the ox tribe and the horse tribe were stronger and more capable. Military counselor did not understand why Yunjoga wanted to go further. Because I don't like to give up halfway. At first, Yunjoga did choose to come here because she thought the rabbit tribe was very cute. But after seeing the scene in front of her, she felt that the rabbit tribe did not migrate because of the threat of the jackals and wolves. There must be other reasons. At this time, Gua-er walked out of the cave with the help of Agu, holding a wooden board the size of a nameplate in her hand. She said to Yunjoga, Miss Yun, my tribe did not migrate, but encountered a sudden disaster. Look at this board, it's a sign to tell us to run away. Yunjoga took the brown board and found that it was broken and had a bite mark with blood on it, which looked like it was bitten by a rabbit. This is the board that our chief always carries with him. He must have bitten off this wooden board to warn us before he was injured. Gua-er held back her tears and pleaded to Yunjoga, Miss Yun, I know my request is very rude, but I beg you to save my tribe. They are very capable and kind people, and they will definitely be of great help to you in the future. Gua-er was very nervous when she said this. The only advantage of the rabbit tribe was that they could hear far and run fast, but they were far worse than the eagle tribe and the snake tribe. She wondered if Miss Yun would like them. These grasses were planted by your rabbit tribe. Yunjoga suddenly glanced at the incomparably dense wild grass. It was clearly much more exuberant than other places. Guo was stunned. She nodded and said, yes, we transplanted fresh weeds from other places and planted them in front of the cave. We also opened up a piece of land at the back to plant carrots for the kids. Yunjoga glanced at the carrot in his hand, and his heart instantly bloomed with joy. These rabbit people were definitely talented at planting. Miss Yun, being attacked is just Gua-er's guess. I still think they have migrated, so there's no need to waste time looking for them. Military counselor insisted. Even if they have migrated, I will still have to find them. They are very important to me. If you guys are unwilling, then have the Naga race bring them here, Yunjoga said calmly. She was preparing to plant food on a large scale, and these rabbit men were definitely the best choice. However, Yunjoga did not intend to explain these things right now. He wanted to see how obedient the eagle men were. Miss Yun, if you want to find them, even if the rabbit tribe goes to the ends of the earth, I will find them. Military counselor quickly expressed his stance. He had no intention of disobeying Yunjoga. Yunjoga was quite satisfied with military counselor's attitude. Then let's split into 4 groups and each go in one direction. How about it? Military counselor said, resigned to his fate. The rabbit tribe's tutorial was very fast, and they had always been cunning. It would take a lot of effort to find them. No need. Yunjoga shook his head, then patted the spirit beast bag and released the treasure-seeking scorpion. Master, did you send me here to look for treasures? Oh my god, what is this place? Why is it so smelly? The treasure-seeking scorpion, which had just crawled out of the secret realm, almost fell over due to the stench of death. This is the forbidden spirit land. Can you help me find the owner of this carrot? Yunjoga placed the carrot in front of the treasure-seeking scorpion, completely treating it like a dog. I'll try. The treasure-seeking scorpion hadn't received Yunjoga's summons for a long time, so it didn't dare to relax even if it was a small matter. The treasure-seeking scorpion used its pincers to bite off a small piece of the carrot and chewed it. Then, it drilled into the ground and circled around randomly. When it came out, it said to Yunjoga, "I've found the smell of the carrot, but they came from the cave. You guys can't go in here." Yunjoga thought about the tunnels in the cave that extended in all directions like marmots. She had thought that those tunnels were used to store food. Could they be used to escape? But those tunnels were so small. How could the rabbit tribe pass through? Yunjoga couldn't help but look at Gua, who was short but had the height of a normal woman, in surprise. Gua, who felt Yunjoga's gaze, clenched her teeth and said, "Miss Yun, actually, the rabbit tribe can completely transform into the shape of a rabbit." Impossible. Before Yunjoga could say anything, military counselor couldn't help but say, "Only the prince of the eagle tribe can completely transform." Gua. Gu looked at his partner in a daze. He suddenly remembered the first time they met. He had found a white rabbit. He wanted to catch the rabbit, but it had kicked him away. When he flew back, the little rabbit was gone, and only Guo was lying unconscious on the ground. Guo bit her lips and didn't say anything. Then, her body suddenly emitted an extremely faint golden light. With a bang, Guo disappeared, leaving behind a cute rabbit on the ground. It had white fluffy fur, long ears, red eyes, and a three-petaled mouth. It was the most ordinary rabbit form. Gua. Yunjoga held the soft rabbit up in surprise. The rabbit nodded and said, "Miss Yun, we didn't mean to hide it from you. It's just that Grandmother Chief said that we can't let outsiders know about this ability. Otherwise, we will be treated as ordinary rabbits and eaten." Your Grandmother Chief is right. Yunjoga smiled and opened his spirit eye. He carefully observed Gua, who was in the beast form. He saw that Gua's body was shrouded in an extremely faint golden light. Although there was also a sea of consciousness, it was extremely faint. Compared to Dummy, it was like a drop of water compared to a plate of water. Even so, Yunjoga was still very excited. As long as he found the rabbit tribe chief and waited for Dummy to wake up, there might be a way to dispel this mysterious power. Chapter 508. Gua, don't worry. I will definitely save your people. You can return to your original form. Yunjoga stroked Gua's soft white fur and pinched her long ears. Finally, it was complete. No, I'm going to go through the tunnel with that big scorpion to find my people. Gua shook her head firmly. But you're pregnant. It was too dangerous. Miss Yun, if I were still in the form of a rabbit person, it would be hard for me to move while I'm pregnant. However, once I'm in the form of a rabbit, I feel like I have infinite power. You can see if you don't believe me. Gua suddenly jumped and landed on the ground. Then, she turned into a white shadow and traveled through the rabbit person's cave. 3 seconds later, there were a lot of things in front of Yunjoga. There were wood chips, stones, arrowheads, and a small blood-stained hide dress. Guo found them in the most secluded place in the cave. This is Xiaoxia's favorite hide dress. Guo pressed the hide with her front paw. With tears in her red eyes, she said, if they really planned to migrate, they would have taken these with them. It's okay. We're going to save your people now. Military counselor, go into the first level of alert. If you find any strange orcs nearby, catch them and bring them to me immediately. Yunjoga looked serious. The golden light on Guo was as rare as dummies. Those who attacked them must have done it for this mysterious power. Yes, military counselor answered without hesitation. The other eagle people didn't have any objections. Treasure hunting scorpion, take this rabbit into the tunnel and find the direction in which the rabbit person left. Be careful. Show your head every mile. Can you do that? Yunjoga asked seriously. Of course. My big pincers are not for show. Treasure hunting scorpion waved its strong pincers. When it was just a small scorpion, it didn't have Earth's spiritual power, so it had to dig holes with its big pincers. It was no slower than marmots. Gua, you have to be careful. If you find anything wrong, ask treasure hunting scorpion to bring you out immediately. Safety first, understand? Yunjoga reminded Gua. Although Gua was stronger than usual in her rabbit person form, she was pregnant after all. It would be troublesome if something went wrong. Don't worry, Miss Yun. I'll be careful. Gua nodded. In fact, she didn't tell Yunjoga one thing. After she was pregnant, she found her rabbit person form was stronger than before, as if there was a source of power in her belly. Although Yunjoga was a good person, she didn't dare to tell him. She was afraid that her child would be hurt. Counselor, find an eagle man with the sharpest eyes to keep a close eye on the ground and monitor the movements of the treasure-seeking scorpion, Yunjoga said to the counselor. Ah, Gray's eyes are the sharpest. Let him observe. The military advisor recommended Aqua's father, the cold-looking eagleman all gray with a scar on his face. Hui did not speak, it maintained its usual cold attitude, but it was very glad that this scorpion was fat and big enough, and its color was also very dazzling. Otherwise, no matter how sharp its eyes were, it would not be able to do anything. Yunjoga had said everything he needed to say, so he ordered, "Good, let's go now." The treasure-hunting scorpion twisted its stinger and drilled into the hole below. Gua followed it closely and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Zai and Ping helped Yunjoga up. Ash, on the other hand, flew high up in the sky, its sharp eyes constantly scanning the mottled ground. Not long after, it saw a purple scorpion head emerge from the ground in the east. It subconsciously wanted to pounce on it and eat it. Fortunately, the scorpion quickly retracted its head. Only then did he realize that it was not food but a companion. He hurriedly shook his head and shouted in a calm tone, "They're over there." Then he chased after them with Yunjoga and the military counselor. Just like that, Yunjoga and the others chased the treasure-seeking scorpion to a cliff. The treasure-seeking scorpion finally showed its head completely, and so did Gua. Yunjoga and the others quickly landed beside them and asked, "What's wrong?" "The smell ends here." The treasure-seeking scorpion pointed to a round hole behind it and said, "It's very likely that they left after climbing out from here." Yunjoga looked around and saw a large piece of black land in the west. There was not much grass, and the swamp of death was not far away. Even the eaglemen didn't dare to fly over the swamp of death, let alone the rabbit men. She turned to look at the east. There was a very high cliff, even steeper than Eagle Cliff. There were not even many protruding rocks. The rabbit men didn't have wings, so they would fall to their deaths. "Miss Yun, there are no traces of the rabbit men nearby." Ash flapped its wings and landed in front of Yunjoga. The military counselor really wanted to say that the fat scorpion might have led them the wrong way, but he didn't dare to say it. Yunjoga didn't doubt the treasure-seeking scorpion at all. Although it couldn't use its spirit power now, it wouldn't be a problem for it to track the smell. She was just about to ask Guo what she thought when she suddenly sped up and rushed toward the cliff like a white shadow. Guo. Gu was so scared that his soul was about to leave his body. He flapped his wings and chased after her. However, he saw Guo jump toward the cliff. Her forelimbs immediately spread out, and the hair under her armpits fluttered in the wind. She actually spun on the cliff and landed on the cliff wall. Then, she kicked with her hind legs, rolled, and bounced into an inconspicuous cave on the cliff wall. Gwa! A goo flapped his wings and paced back and forth at the entrance of the cave. Unfortunately, the cave entrance was too small, and he couldn't even stick his head in. Let it goo come back. There's no rush. Yunjoga could already tell that the cave was very likely the place where the remaining members of the rabbit men settled down. Rabbits were very timid. Although Gwa was around, it would definitely take a long time to convince them. A goo would only scare them if he was there. The military counselor personally flew over to drag a goo, who didn't want to leave, back. Yunjoga looked at the dejected Iggu and felt that it was funny. Gwa just went in to persuade her clansmen, but in the end, he looked like he was abandoned. It could be seen that the relationship between the two was really good. Miss Yun, it's getting dark. We have to find a safe place to stay, the military counselor said to Yunjoga. He already realized that they were going to fight a protracted war with the rabbit men. Then find a suitable cave on the cliff and take a look. It was very dark here at night, and it was too dangerous to spend the night on the open grassland. Miss Yun, I saw a very good cave just now. It's just beside Gwa Bear's cave, a goose said immediately. Alright, military counselor, go and take a look. If it's suitable, we'll stay. Yunjoga nodded. It was good to be closer to the cave of the rabbit men. Chapter 509. Military counselor quickly flew over to check the cave that Agu mentioned. When he came back, he was a little troubled. The cave is a little small. It's not easy to live in. It's fine, as long as it's habitable. This was not the time to pursue comfort and spaciousness. You should go and take a look first. Military counselor and a grave brought Yunjoga to the cave. The cave was actually very wide, but it was not deep enough. Sitting inside, the mountain wind blew. It was not a good place to rest. Why don't we change to another one? Agu felt a little guilty. In order to be closer to Gwa, he was willing to live in any shabby place. However, he felt bad for making Miss Yun feel so wronged. It's fine, it's quite good. Yunjoga shook her head, then said to Agu, Gwa must be hungry after being tired for so long. Why don't you throw a bag of grass potatoes in, then find something nearby to start a bonfire and boil some hot water. That way, she can drink hot water when she comes out. Miss Yun is right. Agu's eyes immediately lit up. He flew to the cave entrance and threw the bag of grass potatoes and moss in, then shouted, Gwa is for you. Very quickly, a white furry claw reached out from the cave entrance and dragged the bag in with a swish. Agu laughed foolishly, then eagerly flew out to find some dried branches and leaves to start a fire. Military counselor, send someone to find some silk grass to weave into curtains to block the wind. Also, go and find some jade grass that can stop bleeding. There must be someone in the rabbit tribe who is injured. It will be useful later. Her panacea was limited in this place. It was better to use local herbs to treat ordinary wounds. A ping and a foam, you two go. Military counselor turned around and ordered the two eagle men behind him. Yes. The two young eagle men immediately flapped their wings and left. I'll go out and see what's going on below. Gray was a cautious person. Every time he went to a strange place, he had to investigate the surroundings clearly before he could feel at ease. Go, be careful. Pay attention to our movements at all times. Come back when you hear shouts, military counselor instructed. Okay. Gray nodded, then flapped his wings and went down the cliff. Miss Yun, are you cold? The military counselor spread his wings and blocked the entrance of the cave to block the wind, but the howling wind still blew the hair in front of Yunjoga's forehead into a mess. No. Yunjoga shook her head. She didn't feel cold yet, but it would be hard to say later. We'll wait for Hoodlum and the rest to bring the silk grass back. After saying this, the military counselor fell silent for a moment before asking Yunjoga cautiously, "How is His Highness?" "It's fine." Yunjoga took Dummy out of the spirit beast bag. The chubby Dummy still looked like he was sleeping soundly. His big, furry face was full of happiness, which made people's teeth itch. "Miss Yun, is it true that His Royal Highness will wake up in 6 days?" The military counselor had always remembered what Yunjoga had said. 1 day had been taken away yesterday, so there were still 6 days left. Actually, 6 days is still too long. If possible, I hope he can wake up earlier. She had a bad feeling about the rabbit tribe being hunted down today. If these pursuers were also sent by Nangongyu, then she had definitely entered this Arcana land for that mysterious power. She had only just discovered that others had already begun to plunder. This feeling was really uncomfortable. He will definitely wake up. The military counselor nodded vigorously, then reached out and secretly plucked a strand of His Royal Highness' butt hair, hoping to wake him up earlier. Dummy kicked its fat legs in dissatisfaction, then turned over to continue sleeping unhappily. "Don't touch him." Yunjoga rolled her eyes at the military counselor, then kept Fatty Dummy. "Since you have nothing better to do, why don't you help me get a big rock? I want to make some stone bowls," Yunjoga said to the military counselor. They had only brought food with them, not those heavy tools. "I don't have nothing better to do, I want to protect you," the military counselor emphasized seriously, then shouted to Gray at the bottom of the cliff, "Get me a rock. Miss Yun wants to make stone bowls." Very soon, Ash came up with a big rock. "What's at the bottom of the cliff?" Yunjoga asked as she gestured on the rock. "Just some broken rocks and a dead end. There's nothing special. I'll go get some water." Gray just couldn't do it, so she flew out of the cave after saying that. Yunjoga took out the evil blade that had already become scrap metal, and started to cut on the gray rock. In the end, she made a big stone bowl, 5 small stone bowls, and some waste. "What is this? It's too powerful." The military counselor stared at Yunjoga's hand in shock. Such a hard rock was even more fragile than dirt under her hand. "This is called a blade." Yunjoga showed the evil blade. Fortunately, the material of the evil blade had a special effect on rocks. Otherwise, it would have been useless if it had been any other spiritual weapon. "This is the legendary divine weapon." The military counselor looked at the rusty evil blade with a face full of admiration. "You're thinking too much. This can only be used to cut rocks. By the way, what kind of weapons do the Eagle clan usually use?" Yunjoga asked again. Nangongyu hadn't come looking for them yet. When she showed her power, there would definitely be a battle. As a fighting clan, the Eagle clan would definitely be on the battlefield. "We usually use spears to kill our enemies when we dive down," the military counselor said proudly. The Eagle clan was very powerful when they dived down. Even the big brown bear in the mystic realm could be killed. "I thought you guys knew how to use crossbows." Yunjoga was a little surprised. The Eagle clan could fly and were natural archers. As long as they flew far away to fight monsters, who could get close to them? "We don't know how to make crossbows." The military counselor shook his head. "You guys have been fighting with the Naga for so long. Haven't you snatched a few back to try?" Yunjoga asked. "We did, but the Naga's crossbows are all specially made. They can only fly from the bottom up. We can't shoot from the bottom down. The military counselor had a look of pity. It wasn't easy for him to snatch a crossbow, but it was useless. They actually have crossbows like that. Yunjoga hadn't paid attention to the Naga's crossbows before. He thought they were just ordinary goods. The oracle said that they have customized many weapons for all the major clans. She also said that as long as the Eagle clan defected to them, we would be able to get the most suitable weapons for us. Even if we wanted to dominate the mystic realm, it wouldn't be a problem. When the military counselor spoke, there was a hint of yearning in his voice. However, it quickly turned into hatred. As a warrior, he naturally hoped to get a powerful weapon that suited him. However, whenever he thought about how the oracle had made these things to make the beast men kill each other, he felt extreme hatred. Chapter 5:10. It's fine. I'll get Yi Zi to make a set of weapons for you when we get back. I guarantee it'll be 10,000 times more powerful than the fake oracles. Yunjoga wasn't bragging. From the moment Zishang said he wanted to build a city, she knew he was going to do something big. Weapons were definitely the most important. This was the difference between Yunjoga and Zishang. She was more concerned about the health of the orcs and wanted to do something good for this mystic realm. Zishang, on the other hand, was thinking about how to use the orcs to quickly achieve his goal. Fortunately, their thoughts weren't in conflict. They could even complement each other. Lord Yi Zi even knows how to make weapons? That's really amazing. The military advisor's face immediately lit up. His admiration for Yi Zi was rising again. There's nothing he doesn't know. When Yunjoga said this, she was proud, as if she was the amazing person. She chatted with military counselor for a while and realized the light was dimming. The sky was getting darker. Night was coming. Why aren't Ah Fei and Ah Ping back yet? Yunjoga looked outside worriedly. I'll go take a look. Military counselor flew out of the cave and quickly returned with Ah Fei and Ah Ping. The two of them carried bundles of silk grass. However, there were pitifully few jade grass hanging on them. It's very empty here. We flew for a long time before we found this much, Ah Fei said guiltily. It's fine. This is enough. Yunjoga took the jade grass and put it aside. Quickly weave a curtain to block the wind. Military counselor picked up the silk grass and quickly weaved it. Ah Ping and Ah Fei sat beside him and quickly weaved. Soon, Ah Hui and Ah Gu returned. Ah Gu carried a huge bundle of dried branches on his back. Ah Hui slowly filled a bag of clean water with a beast skin bag. Yunjoga took the bag and poured half of the water into the stone bowl. With Ah Gu and Ah Hui's help, the curtain was quickly weaved. It was as dense as 2 green door panels. Military counselor even made a few holes on the curtain for easy observation and ventilation. Then, he flew out of the cave and nailed it. The wind was indeed much weaker. The military counselor lifted the curtain and returned to the cave. Ah Hui had already used the remaining stones of Yunjoga to make a square stove and started the bonfire. The cold cave immediately became warm. The 5 eagle men crowded at the entrance of the cave, leaving the spacious space inside for Yunjoga. Yunjoga didn't say anything. He placed the stone bowl on the stove and poured the dried grass and beef into it, preparing to cook the meat porridge. The light yellow rice rolled up and down in the boiling water, and the brown jerky stewed until it was soft. Yunjoga took out a wooden spoon from the cloth bag and stirred it to prevent it from sticking to the bottom of the pot. The fragrance of the meat porridge spread in the cave. Even the military counselor could not help but drool. Since the disaster of the Black Rain, they had not had a proper meal of meat. Although they were already very happy to be able to eat grass rice and grass potatoes to fill their stomachs every day, they were still carnivores. Smelling this kind of meat aroma was simply painful torture. Ah, Hui was slightly better. His cold face did not show any expression, but his throat moved slightly. Ah Ping and Ah Feng, the two young eagle men, had their eyes fixed on the bowl of meat porridge. Their throats could not help but move up and down, and they were almost drooling. They were really craving it. Miss Yun would definitely not be able to finish such a big bowl. It would be great if she could drink a little when the time came. Even if it was just a taste, it would be good. Aren't you hungry? Why aren't you eating? Yun Jioga asked while stirring. Oh, we'll eat now. The few eagle men took out the dry grass potatoes. Smelling the fragrant meat porridge, it was especially painful to eat. Miss Yun, why aren't you eating? The military counselor found that the porridge was cooked, but Yun Jioga still did not move to eat. I'm not hungry. Yun Jioga shook her head. If you're not hungry, why did you cook such a big bowl of meat porridge? The military counselor did not think that it was cooked for them, or Yun Jioga would have called them over just now. This is for Gua and the rest. Yun Jioga put down the spoon and said to a stone wall in the shadow of the corner, So, have you thought it through? Can you come out and see us now? Before the military counselor and the rest could react, they heard banging sounds coming from the stone wall. The stone chips shattered, and a tunnel that was about the size of a head appeared in front of them. Gua! Agu immediately shouted excitedly. Agu! A small white rabbit came out of the tunnel. It was Gua in her beast form. Agu was about to go over, but the military counselor stopped him. Don't go over. The tunnel was not very spacious. If Agu went over, even Yun Jioga would not have a place to sit. Elder, come out. Gua turned her head and said to the tunnel. Following that, a trembling old rabbit crawled out from the passage, its pair of red eyes filled with wisdom landing on Yun Jioga. Elder, this is Miss Yun that I told you about. Miss Yun, this is the elder of our rabbit men tribe, Gua introduced. Hello, elder. Yun Jioga smiled and said, My name is Yun Jioga. I came from the outside world. Miss Yun, why did you come from the outside world to our barren land? The rabbit elder's voice was different from Elder Bai's. Elder Bai thought about how to lead the Eagle Men tribe to survive every day. His voice always sounded urgent. However, this rabbit elder's voice was very steady. It made people feel that he was an intelligent rabbit. I came here to look for someone, Yun Jioga said seriously. Who is it? The rabbit elder asked. Now is not the time to tell you. I will ask for your help when the time is right. Yun Jioga smiled faintly. He did not take the rabbit elder's aggressiveness to heart. Miss Yun, since you are with the eagle men, you should know why their prince can transform into a complete beast form. What do you think? The rabbit elder changed the topic. Yun Jioga thought for a moment and said directly, the eagle prince can transform into a beast form and can even shoot fireballs from his mouth. That is because there is a ball of golden light in his head. The rabbit men tribe also has golden light, but it is much less than his. Most of it is distributed in the body and bones. That is why your beast forms are stronger. You are the most honest person I have ever met, the rabbit elder said emotionally. The rabbit elder sighed. It didn't expect Yun Jioga to reveal the truth without any conditions. This is your beast men tribe's business. You have the right to know. Yun Jioga thought so. Thank you. The rabbit elder's attitude was clearly much better. Then, elder, can you tell me where the golden light on your body comes from? Yun Jioga asked directly. Chapter 5:11. Why do you want to know the secret of the golden light? The rabbit elder asked calmly. I want to obtain the golden light not for myself, but because a demonic aura is spreading in your arcane realm. This demonic aura will turn you into mindless puppets. Only the golden light can save you. Yunjioga told the rabbit elder about the demonic aura and the gaga grass on the orc cubs, as well as the naga auntie. Finally, he said, if you don't believe me, you can ask Gua, as well as the eagle men and the nagas. Elder, Miss Yun is telling the truth. Miss Yun cured all the kids of the eagle man tribe. I saw it with my own eyes, Gua said hurriedly. You're really a kind person, the rabbit elder praised casually. The rabbit elder praised casually before sighing and saying, but we don't know where the golden light on our bodies comes from. In fact, I only just found out about this from you. Our tribe has been living in the depths of the grassland. Our ancestors told us to keep this a secret. We can't let outsiders know that we can completely transform into beasts. Then have you compared the difference between you and other rabbit men? Yunjioga asked again. Yes, but we're actually no different from ordinary rabbit men. The food we eat and the environment we live in are the same. We also marry rabbit men from other tribes. The offspring we give birth to can also transform, but they'll be much weaker. We can only transform when it's a matter of life and death, the rabbit elder said. At this point, the rabbit elder's eyes immediately became a little wet. He said, this time, our tribe encountered a great disaster. All the strong tribesmen were captured. Only the old, the weak, the women, and the children escaped through the tunnel. Who captured you? Yunjioga asked solemnly. It was the jackal orcs. At first, they chased ordinary jackals to test us. After we killed those jackals, they didn't do anything. I didn't expect them to be so shameless as to poison the plants we eat. The poison is very strange. The poison tribesmen can't transform, so they can only desperately cover our escape. Resentment flashed in the rabbit elder's red eyes. Because of their ability to transform, they didn't suffer too much damage during the Black Rain disaster. This time, however, most of them were captured because of the jackal orcs. You beast men shouldn't have the ability to poison plants. Yunjioga was sure that it was Nangong Yu's doing. You mean the oracle is the one who commanded it? The military counselor immediately understood. That's very likely. How much do you know about the Knoll tribe? Do you know if they have joined the oracle's camp? Where is their current base? Yunjioga asked. I've never heard of the Knoll tribe joining the oracle's camp. They have always been migrating with their prey. They don't have a fixed settlement. The military counselor shook his head. We, the rabbit folk, have always lived in the depths of the grasslands and have never dealt with the gnolls before. However, the panther race brat had previously brought the oracle's summons, asking us to join the oracle's tribe. Then, he would give us weapons to protect ourselves, but we rejected him. The rabbit elder was a little regretful. If they had known that the tribe would encounter such a calamity, they would have agreed to join the oracle's camp. At the very least, they would have gotten their hands on the weapons first. Elder, don't worry. If the oracle ordered the gnolls to do this, then your people should be fine. Nangong, you only wanted the golden light, not the rabbit meat. Lady Yun, please save our clansmen, Gua said excitedly at the side. Don't worry, I will definitely save them. How many of your people are left? Call them over. Yes, Yunjioga said. My people are very safe now. There's no need to trouble Miss Yun, the rabbit elder said gently. It was obvious that he still did not trust Yunjioga. Elder, I'm willing to save you because I treat you as my people. If you don't trust me, there's no need for me to risk my life for you. Yunjioga really did not have the time to appease the timid and paranoid rabbit folk. The rabbit elder was still a little hesitant. Although Yunjoga seemed like a good person, he did not dare to take the risk if he was not of the same race. Yunjoga did not speak. He directly used his divine power and tapped the stone wall. The stone wall silently disappeared, revealing a group of furry rabbits behind it. The rabbits were jumping around in panic as if they were scared out of their wits. "Everyone, don't panic. Miss Yun means us no harm," Gua shouted desperately, but it was to no avail. The rabbit elder did not move at the side. He had no intention of maintaining order. His red eyes did not hide his dissatisfaction towards Yunjoga. "Miss Yun." Military counselor stood beside Yunjoga coldly. He was only waiting for her order to capture these ungrateful rabbits. "Don't be anxious. Let them jump." Yunjoga was not anxious this time. He turned around and sat down. He called Gua and said, "You must be hungry after a long day. Eat something first." With that said, he filled a small stone bowl with meat porridge and handed it to Gua. Gua was originally not in the mood to eat, but she could not stand the aroma. She immediately transformed into her human form and drank in big mouthfuls. She felt as if her internal organs and body were soaking in the hot spring. Perhaps her expression was too blissful. The few little rabbits watching from afar could not help but drool. "Xiao Xia, Xiao Ming, come here quickly. It's too delicious." Guo went over and carried the two smallest rabbits over. She let them drink in her bowl. The two palm-sized white rabbits were a little timid at first. However, once they ate the meat porridge, they immediately buried their heads in and ate. The rabbit form had a small appetite. The two little rabbits turned into human forms with a bang. Xiao Xia was a little lowly, around 5 years old. She had long hair, a round apple face, and big watery eyes. She was very cute. Xiao Ming looked exactly the same as Xiao Xia. However, his short hair showed that he was a boy. The two of them should be twins. Yunjoga took the opportunity to open his spirit eye to check the two rabbits. He found that they were very healthy. There were no traces of demonic energy or death energy on their bodies. That mysterious golden light was indeed the root of dispelling demonic energy. The beast men were saved. Under the lure of Gua and the two little rabbits, the other rabbits also came over to drink the meat porridge. However, only the children transformed into human forms. The other adults remained in rabbit form and kept a distance from Yunjoga and the others. The rabbit elder still stood proudly on the spot without moving. "Elder, please believe that I have no ill intentions. If I really wanted to do anything to you, I would not need to spend so much effort to help you." Yunjoga handed a bowl of meat porridge to the rabbit elder. Chapter 5:12. "Miss Yun, I know you're a good person, but we really don't dare to take the risk anymore." The rabbit elder softened her attitude, but she did not take the meat porridge. "I don't want you to take the risk. Actually, I'm planning to build a city and plant a large amount of food to help you orcs survive the winter. I realize that the rabbit people are very good at farming, so I hope you can go back with me. After I rescue your people, you can reunite." Although Yunjoga sounded very sincere, the rabbit elder was still a little hesitant. "I hope you won't reject my invitation because winter is coming soon. The rabbit people won't be able to survive the current situation." Yunjoga looked at the little rabbit people who were resting after eating and drinking. "Thank you for your invitation, but I can't make a decision on this matter." "Why don't you ask our chief after you rescue her?" the rabbit elder said slyly. "Sure. I saw some injured rabbits. Go and treat them." Yunjoga did not take the opportunity to make a good impression on the injured rabbit people. Instead, she handed the great jade grass to the rabbit elder. "Thank you for the herb." The rabbit elder nodded gratefully. Regardless of whether Yunjoga was a good person or a bad person, at least he was helping them now. You're welcome. Yunjoga returned to the campfire, added some water to the stone bowl, and continued to cook more meat porridge so that the rabbit people could eat their fill. The next morning, Yunjoga did not leave with the rabbit people immediately. Instead, she let them stay in the cave. She even asked Gray and the others to bring a large number of dry branches. Ah Gu and Gua stayed with them. Ah Hui, you and Ah Fei will look for the place where the gnolls live later. Counselor, Ah Ping, and I will go back to the tribe to discuss with Elder Bai about rescuing the rabbit people, Yunjoga said in front of all the rabbit people. Yes, the eagle men answered at the same time and left the cliff with Yunjoga. Miss Yun, why don't you bring the rabbit people back? Counselor asked in confusion. Bring them to where? Eagle Cliff. Yunjoga glanced at the military counselor and continued, those rabbits are so scared now. They definitely won't be willing to go with us. Secondly, if we bring them around, won't our rabbit forms be exposed? Before we find out the secret of the golden light, we must keep the matter of the rabbit tribe a secret. Do you understand? Don't worry, Miss Yun. We know what's important. The military counselor hurriedly promised, and the other eagle men also agreed. This matter concerns the beastmen race. I hope that you will keep your word, Yunjoga said. Then can I tell Elder Bai? Military counselor could not help but ask. I'll talk to him personally. After Yunjoga finished speaking, he turned to look at Ash and Ah Fei. After you find the gnolls' encampment, just wait for me at the rabbit tribe's lair. Yunjoga did this because she did not want to tire them out. Also, if they could not find the lair of the gnolls, she and Zishang could figure it out themselves. Then let's head over now. Ash and Hoodlum turned and flew toward the rabbit tribe's lair. When Yunjoga returned to Eagle Cliff, she saw a few eagle men diligently sprinkling water on the cliff. There were also many eagle men flying around carrying soil, preparing to plant moss in their lair. Seeing Yunjoga return, all the eagle men stopped what they were doing and automatically saluted her. Yunjoga returned all of them with a friendly smile. After flying to Elder Bai's lair, she saw that he was carefully digging out the moss on the cave wall, preparing to transplant it for his people. Miss Yun, you're back. How's the matter with the rabbit tribe? Elder Bai was very happy to see Yunjoga. It's not going well. There's something I need to tell you. Yunjoga told him about the transformation of Dummy and the rabbit tribe's golden power. Actually, Yunjoga had already told Elder Bai about the golden light before. However, the old man was determined that it was a God-given ability, so he did not take it to heart. Now that he heard that the rabbit tribe, which they looked down on the most, had such an ability, he immediately became excited. Then why didn't you bring that old rabbit back? I'll ask her myself. Elder Bai, in my heart, whether you're herbivorous or carnivorous, strong or weak, you orcs are all the same to me. So I hope you won't look down on them, Yunjoga said seriously. Miss Yun, you misunderstood me. I'm not looking down on them. In fact, I'm old friends with the rabbit elder, so I'm a little more casual with my words, Elder Bai quickly explained. Yes, Miss Yun, you see, Gua has been in Eagle Cliff for so long, and we've never treated her as an outsider. The military counselor quickly explained on behalf of his grandfather. Yes, I know you're all good people. Oh right, one more thing, don't tell anyone about this. Otherwise, the orcs will be in chaos, Yunjoga warned seriously again. Don't worry, Miss Yun. If they dare to say anything, I'll break their wings. Elder Bai's tone was murderous, so no one doubted his determination. Then, he reported something else to Yunjoga. After he told the eagle partners that Yunjoga wanted to take over the surrounding tribes, those herbivorous orcs immediately urged their partners to send food back to their parents' home. Those herbivorous orcs immediately urged their eagle man partners to send food back to their mother's home. Now, several tribes were crying and begging to submit to her. Count the number of people who want to pledge allegiance to the tribe and see what their specialties are. I'll go check on Yizi's situation. Whether it was settling down the other beast men or saving the rabbit tribe, Zishang had to take action. Perfect, Aze is at Eagle Cliff. I'll let him take you there. Elder Bai immediately yelled, Aze, come here. Elder, I was tired yesterday. Can't you let me rest for a while? Aze ran over with sleepy eyes. He almost went around half the secret realm with Zishang yesterday. He was really exhausted. Stop talking, take Miss Yun to Master Yizi. Elder Bai kicked Zhe. This elder, who only had a year to live, was full of energy. He didn't look sick at all. Ouch! Zhe yelled exaggeratedly and came to Yunjoga obediently. Let's go. Yunjoga didn't have any sympathy for him. Zhe was just putting on an act. He was more talkative than grass along the way. Yesterday, Master Yizi made me fly around randomly in the sky. Then, he found a small mountain and told me to stop there. Look, it's there. Zhe pointed at a small mountain not far away. Then, his jaw dropped in shock. Chapter 5:13. A circle of tall and thick gray walls rose abruptly around the mountain, looking indestructible. Outside the wall was a deep ditch. Although water hadn't been released yet, it was still very shocking. God, there was nothing when I left last night. Zhe couldn't close his mouth at all. Are you sure you didn't see wrong? The military advisor also found it hard to believe. I don't think I saw wrong. Zhe kept rubbing his eyes, suspecting that there was something wrong with his eyes. Stop rubbing, the wall is real. Let's go over and see. Yunjoga wasn't surprised. Ian surely could use magic after all. Building a few city walls wasn't a problem for him. Zishang had long noticed them coming over and was standing on the city wall. He had a smile on his handsome face as he stared intently at Yunjoga. The strong wind blew, causing his black hair and the hem of his clothes to dance, but it was unable to shake his figure. Yunjoga landed next to Zishang and was grabbed by his hand. How was it? Did it surprise you? Zishang asked with a smile. It's all right. Yunjoga looked around and saw a high wall separating the mountain and the flat land behind it. There were many caves on the hill, and it looked as if someone had made countless holes in it. What are you doing? Yunjoga couldn't tell what kind of city Zishang wanted to build. This mountain is for the fighting tribes to live in. Behind it is a planting area. We just need to dig the water channel and we can plant the big eater grass. Zishang began to explain his idea to Yunjoga. Are you planning to turn this mountain into a fortress? Yunjoga didn't think the mountain was a place for people to live in. That's right, this is a fortress. If we launch an attack, the fighting tribes will fight here. The old, weak, women and children will go to the city wall behind, Zishang said simply. Are you thinking of this battle too intensely? Yunjoga looked at the things that looked like cannons on the mountain and felt his scalp tingle. This was exactly what a war looked like. It's better to be prepared, Zishang answered. He didn't tell Yunjoga about his bad feeling. By the way, where's Ian Shirley? Yunjoga looked around and didn't see the walking corpse sovereign. He's still working in the back. I'll take you to him. Zishang brought Yunjoga to the area at the back. From afar, they saw two figures, one big and one small, building a wall. Streams of energy spread out from their palms and turned into walls. Ha! Why did he even release his wife and child? Yoonjoga was surprised. Shirley's heart ached for his wife and children. How could he bear to let them work? It's probably because there are more people, Shang said calmly. Miss Yun, you're finally here. When Shirley saw Yoonjoga, it was as though he had seen a relative. He had been mercilessly oppressed by Shang for the past few days to the point that he was about to cry. Amazing. Bringing you here was indeed the right decision. Yoonjoga gave Shirley a thumbs up. Shirley was filled with resentment, but he couldn't say anything. I'll go out with Joga later. I'll leave this place to you. Shang patted Shirley's shoulder. Where are you going? Shirley was surprised. A date. Shang said seriously, as long as you have your wife by your side, can't I go out with my wife? All right. You guys go. Shirley turned around helplessly and continued to work with a soaring resentment. Yoonjoga didn't know if it was an illusion, but she felt that the yin-yang chi in Shirley's body was even stronger. He was working faster. Let's go out and talk. After Shang brought Yoonjoga out of the back area, he said, Shirley has been transferring his natal yin-yang chi to his wife and child all these years. He has accumulated a lot of yin-yang chi. It won't be a problem for him to build a city. No wonder. But it's not good for you to oppress him like this. After all, we're all friends. Yoonjoga knew that Shirley had given his natal yin-yang chi to his wife and child in the hopes that they would become zombies one day. I'm naturally giving him benefits when I ask him to work. You don't have to worry about this, Shang said. What benefits can you give him? Yoonjoga looked at Shang suspiciously. This fellow was poor. Could he be trying to trick Shirley with nothing? Are you looking down on me? Shang glanced at Yoonjoga and said, what I'm giving him is what he wants the most. Can you help his wife and child become zombies? Yoonjoga was shocked. He hadn't heard that Shang had such a skill. No. Then where did you get the confidence that Shirley would be satisfied? I can't, but Fan can. That fellow owes me a favor. Shang raised his eyebrows and was full of pride. TSK, you're offering Buddha with borrowed flowers. Yoonjoga looked down on him mercilessly. You came to me just to bicker. Shang ruffled Yoonjoga's hair. I'm not here on a date. Yoonjoga first mocked Shang before telling him about the rabbit tribe. Then you're here to ask me to deal with the lupus tribe? Shang asked even though he already knew the answer. Of course. I don't trust anyone but you. Yoonjoga flattered Shang, which was very rare. You're such a sweet talker. Let's go now. Shang dragged Yoonjoga to the small mountain and saw Lu Zhe still flying around with advisor Junzi. Come down, Shang yelled. The two eaglemen quickly flew down. Master Yi, you're too amazing. Zhe looked at Shang with admiration. The eagle cliff they lived in was built after countless generations of effort. Shang made it like this in one morning. The eagleman's ancestors wanted to jump out and worship him if they knew. Stop sucking up. Take us to the rabbit tribe's nest, Shang said. Yes. Zhe and advisor June. They brought Yoonjoga to the rabbit's nest. There was nothing unusual about the small hill that was covered in weeds. After Shang landed, he and Yoonjoga searched the area carefully again. Finally, they found the mark left by Ash in the corner. They found clues about the lupus tribe. It's in the east, Advisor June, then let's go find them now. Say rubbed his palms together. He wanted nothing more than to kill all the Lupus tribe. Just as Zishang was about to nod in agreement, a figure suddenly appeared in the sky, flying crookedly. Yes, Ash. Oh my god, Ah Fei is injured. Advisor June. They immediately flapped their wings and flew toward Ash. Miss Yun, hurry up and take a look at Ah Fei, Ah Zhe shouted anxiously while carrying Ah Fei. Half of Ah Fei's wings were covered in blood. His face was sallow. He had already fainted. Chapter 5:14. Put him on the ground. Yunjioge quickly told Ah Zhe to lay Ah Fei down. Then, he took out the lightning fire needle to stop the bleeding and examined him carefully. What's wrong? Zishang asked. We found the base of the knolls. We wanted to sneak in to check out the situation, but we didn't expect them to have the Naga's repeating crossbow. When we ran out, Hoodlum was injured by them. Ash blamed himself. If he had been more alert, Hoodlum would not have been injured. It's fine. There's no poison in the arrow. Just go back and rest. Yunjioge was relieved after examining Ah Fei. Ah Zhe, take Ah Fei back. Ah Zhe and Strategist, take us to the Knoll's camp, Zishang said. Ah Zhe didn't want to do this, but he didn't dare disobey Zishang's orders. He could only carry Ah Fei away. Ah Zhe, how are you? Do you want to rest before going? Yunjioge saw that Ah Zhe didn't look too well. I'm not tired, but the Knolls just discovered us. If we go now, they'll be on their guard. Ah Zhe frowned. Don't worry about that. Send us somewhere nearby, and we'll find a way in, Zishang said. Okay, we'll send you there. Ah Zhe and Strategist took Yunjioge and Zishang east. The ground was scorched black along the way. The stench of death was very strong. It was a barren land. There were no orcs living here anymore. Why were the Knolls still living here? Weren't they afraid of the stench of death? Even if they weren't, where would they find food? Yunjioge thought it was strange, but he couldn't ask Zishang while flying. He could only ask when he landed. We're ready. Fly low so they don't find us, Ah Zhe said, lowering his body. Zishang let go and landed on the ground. He shouted to Yunjioge, jump. Yunjioge jumped into his arms. Another mile and we'll reach the Knoll's camp, Ah Zhe said after landing. We can go there ourselves. You guys go back to Eagle Cliff. Zishang waved his hand. No, it's too dangerous. Elder Bai told us to stay by your side at all times. Strategist shook his head. This is an order. Zishang did not explain much and sent the military advisor back with one sentence. The military counselor was in a dilemma. He did not dare to disobey Zishang's orders, but he was also afraid that he would be scolded by the elders when he returned. Don't worry. With Yi Zi here, I'll be fine. Right now, I have something more important that I need you to do. Yunjioge was much gentler than Zishang. What mission? The military counselor asked hurriedly. Leaving with a mission and leaving dejectedly were two completely different concepts. Go and find the rabbit tribe and tell them about us building the city. If everything goes well, the rabbit tribe will be able to reunite in the new city tonight. Yunjioge said earnestly to the military counselor, these rabbit people are very important. You must love them as much as you love us. Don't worry, Miss Yun. We understand. The military counselor nodded. When he left this morning, he also felt that it was dangerous to leave a Gu alone to protect the rabbit tribe. It was a good time for him to go and take a look at the situation. Huey's face was cold, and he did not interrupt from the beginning to the end. His attitude was that he would do whatever Yunjoga said. Let's go. The military counselor and Hui bade farewell, and the two eagle men turned and left. Since the rabbit tribe is so important, why didn't you bring them back? Zishang asked curiously. I didn't bring them back because I wanted to keep them as bait, Yunjoga said mysteriously. You suspect that there are spies around us? Zishang raised his eyebrows. They might not be spies. They could be controlled beast men. Yunjoga could not open his spiritual eye to check all the beast men, so he could only use this stupid method. It would be great if there were none, but if there were, then he could catch them all in one go. Yunjoga and Zishang ran as they talked. Soon, they arrived at a large patch of dark red grass. The grass was half a person's height, and the redness was unbearable. There was also a pungent smell coming from it. The Knoll tribe was in the center of the grass. These Knolls did not seem to know how to live. They had built a few straw sheds at the side, and it was obvious that they were holding the rabbit tribe captive. There was not a single guard in the surroundings. It was no wonder that Hui and Fei could not help but go down to investigate. There are many Knolls around, waiting for us to walk right into their trap. Zishang's eyesight was much better than the eagleman's. He could see many figures in the grass with a sweep of his eyes. Attack? Yunjoga asked in a low voice. I'll lure them away. You go and save the rabbits. Zishang stared at the Knolls in the grass. Okay. Yunjoga lowered her body even more. Zishang pounced forward like the wind and kicked the Knoll closest to him away. The Knoll was like a cannonball that had gone out of control. It flew in circles and crushed countless weeds. Ow, ow, ow. The Knolls all exploded. They raised their bows and charged at Zishang. Zishang moved like a bolt of lightning, sending the Knolls closest to him flying. Then, he stealthily led the Knolls to the side. Yunjoga took the opportunity to run toward the straw sheds. She did not open the door and rush in. Instead, she poked a hole in the straw sheds and peeked inside. She saw a huge metal cage inside. The unconscious rabbit men were stuffed tightly inside the cage. Some of the rabbit men were even squeezed so tightly that their hands and feet were exposed outside the cage. Fortunately, they were placed vertically. If they were casually stacked, many of the rabbit men would have suffocated to death. Yunjoga looked around. She did not find any danger in the straw sheds, so she quietly opened the door and slipped out. She was about to open the cage to release the rabbit men when she felt a dangerous aura behind her. She instinctively leaned forward. A crossbow arrow flew past her scalp, creating a huge hole in the straw sheds. Yunjoga turned around and saw a tall Knoll standing in front of her with a crossbow. This Knoll had yellowish-brown hair, slender eyes, a black nose, and his muscles were as strong as stone. At this moment, its eyes were gray, and its movements were slow. It was obvious that it was being controlled. Yunjoga opened her spiritual eye and saw that the Knoll's head and neck had been taken over by the gray light. It was even worse than Nandgaga of the Naga tribe. What did Nandgong do to this Knoll? Why was it so serious? Questions surfaced in Yunjoga's mind. Unfortunately, she did not have time to think. The Knoll had already thrown away the crossbow and pounced toward her. It was as fast as a spring, and its sharp claws appeared in front of her in an instant. Chapter 5:15. Seeing that the Knoll leader's claws were unavoidable, Yunjoga could only use his divine power to tie him up with his moon spirit threads. Unexpectedly, the knoll leader struggled wildly and knocked the entire straw shed away. Weeds flew everywhere in the collapsed straw shed, and most of them fell onto the iron cage. The gnolls who were fighting Zishang heard the commotion and all turned to run toward the straw shed. Rows of crossbow bolts flew toward her, and many of them stabbed into the iron cage. Many rabbit men were injured in an instant. The injured rabbit men immediately woke up and roared in a frenzy, "Let us out!" The entire iron cage kept shaking, and more rabbit men were injured. "Calm down!" Yunjoga shouted at the rabbit men as he tried to control the gnoll leader. If the rabbit men were released in this crazy state, they would only die faster. "Get out of the way!" Zishang's black snake tail knocked out all the gnolls. Then he twisted his body and slithered to Yunjoga's side, breaking the tall gnoll's limbs. The tall gnoll fell to the ground, but even though his limbs were broken, he still crawled toward Yunjoga without fear of death. A cold light flashed in Zishang's eyes. He was about to twist his head off, but Yunjoga stopped him. "He's completely controlled by the demonic chi. He can't do anything. Killing him is useless." Yunjoga took out a thunderfire needle and stabbed it at the gnoll's temple. Only then did he stop struggling. Zishang used the straw rope to tie up all the gnolls. Yunjoga checked them one by one and found that their heads had all turned gray, and the gray was spreading downward. Can these beast men be saved? Zishang could also see that these gnolls were more troublesome than before. It's difficult. Their heads are completely occupied by the demonic chi. Yunjoga shook his head. After the sea of consciousness was completely eroded, even if the demonic chi was expelled, only an empty shell would be left. These are the gnoll's crossbow bolts. See if there's anything wrong with them. Zishang handed the crossbow bolts to Yunjoga. Yunjoga looked carefully. The structure of the crossbow bolts was very similar to the Nagas, except for the arrows. The arrowheads of the Naga tribe were coated with poison, while the arrowheads of the Gnoll tribe were gray and ordinary. Just as Yunjoga was about to study the arrowhead, he heard the hysterical shouts of the rabbit people behind him. "Let me out! Let me out!" Yunjoga turned around helplessly and said to the rabbit men who had bent the iron cages, "I can let you out, but you have to calm down first." "Who are you?" A voice that had experienced the vicissitudes of life yet did not lose its calm was heard. Yunjoga looked over and saw a Lolita-like little rabbit in the middle of the iron cage. Her red eyes were filled with vicissitudes of life, and she was staring at her. Yunjoga inexplicably felt that this rabbit person was extraordinary, so he said to her, "My name is Yunjoga. Your clansmen asked me to save you. I am the leader of the rabbit race. I promise that they won't do anything rash. Please let us out." The leader of the lowly race said in a low voice. She was strangely convincing. "Are you the clan leader?" Yunjoga remembered that Gua-er had been calling the clan leader grandma before. "You can't tell, right?" The leader of the lowly race laughed but did not explain anything. It seemed like this was a special disguise technique of the rabbit race. "Indeed, I can't tell. I will let you out now. I hope you won't run around." Yunjoga opened the iron cage. The rabbit people did not run around crazily. The conscious rabbit people who walked out pulled out the arrows from their bodies and threw them on the ground. Then, they began to take care of their unconscious clansmen. Yunjoga wanted to help the rabbit people examine them. However, the rabbit people looked at her with wary eyes. Clearly, they had not let down their guard. "I am a spirit doctor. Only I can cure your poison," Yunjoga said to the leader of the rabbit people. "Then please help me take a look." The leader of the rabbit people trusted Yunjoga. Clan leader. The other rabbit people were unwilling. The leader of the rabbit people waved her hand and took the initiative to walk towards brother Yunjo. Yunjoga reached out to take the pulse of the leader and found that their meridians had been sealed by a special poison. However, this poison was very light. It could be dispelled without using divine power. Clan leader, I will be inserting needles into your body to force the poison out. I hope you won't be nervous. Yunjoga took out the lightning fire and said to the leader of the rabbit people. No, who knows if your needles are poisonous? Before the leader of the rabbit people could say anything, a male rabbit people suddenly jumped out to stop her. This male rabbit people was very tall and handsome. Other than his white hair and red eyes, he was no different from a human. Demeng, don't be rude. Step down. Although the leader of the rabbit people looked like a loli, she was very dignified. She stopped Demeng's rude actions with a glance. Unwillingly, Demeng retreated. Miss Yun, can the poison be cured immediately after the acupuncture? The leader of the rabbit people asked cautiously. If it goes smoothly, it will be cured immediately. Yunjoga nodded. This poison was not difficult to cure. Then I will leave it to you. Do you need me to lie down? The leader of the rabbit people asked cooperatively. There's no need. Just sit down. Yunjoga walked behind the leader of the rabbit people and used his hand to press on a few of her acupuncture points. He said carefully, this poison has blocked the acupuncture points of 3 of your meridians. That's why you can't use your power to transform. Later, I will use needles to force the poisonous blood out. It might be a little painful, but bear with it. Seeing the leader of the rabbit people nod, Yunjoga picked up the lightning fire needle and inserted it into the acupuncture points. Droplets of black poisonous blood quickly emerged from the wound. As the process of detoxification progressed, the leader of the rabbit people slowly aged. Her hair turned white and wrinkles slowly grew on her face. When the other rabbit people saw the transformation of the leader, they did not stop her. It seemed like this was the true face of the leader of the rabbit people. It's done. Yunjoga put away the needles. The leader of the rabbit people could clearly feel the return of her power. She asked Yunjoga earnestly, Miss Yun, this method is very useful. Can you teach us? We can use things to exchange for it. Although this method is effective, I do not recommend that you use it yourself. If you don't control your strength well, it can easily cause huge damage. If it's light, your meridians will be damaged. If it's serious, you will be paralyzed and have a stroke, Yunjoga said solemnly. I just hope that I can save the lives of my clansmen at the critical moment. If it wasn't for Yunjoga, they would have been doomed. The leader of the rabbit people didn't wish for the fate of her clansmen to be in the hands of others. Later, I will help your clansmen insert the needles one by one. How much you can learn will depend on your own abilities. Yunjoga didn't plan on bartering for it to prevent future trouble. Thank you. The leader of the rabbit people immediately arranged for her clansmen to sit in rows. Yunjoga moved the needles rapidly and began helping the rabbit people detoxify. Chapter 5:16. The rabbit people watched Yunjoga as she inserted the needles and discussed in low voices. Do you understand? I think I did, but she was too fast. Don't we still have needles on us? Let's go back and apply some rouge flower before we study it. She had some smarts. Yunjoga smiled slightly. She didn't hate smart people. Miss Yun, these gnolls aren't good people. I suggest you don't keep them. The rabbit leader saw the gnolls tied up like candied hawthorns. Her usually calm eyes couldn't help but show hatred. These gnolls violated the ancestral decree not to kill each other and attacked us rabbit people. They deserve to die. Demeng roared angrily. The other rabbit people also started to riot. Everyone, calm down. Yunjoga stopped the rabbit people and said, they're just controlled by the demonic chi. They might not really want to attack you. Controlled by the demonic chi. What do you mean? The rabbit leader asked with a frown. Yunjoga remembered that the leader didn't know about the demonic chi, so she explained it briefly. Are the people who brought in the demonic chi related to the Black Rain disaster? The rabbit leader asked in a low voice. I'm not sure. Yunjoga shook her head and said, we'll talk about this later. I'll take you to Gua and the others first, but I can only take you with me when you turn into rabbits. The space in the spirit beast bag was limited. She couldn't carry such a large group of humanoid rabbits. Sure. The rabbit leader now trusted Yunjoga a little. She didn't hesitate to let her people turn into rabbits. The bag is too stuffy. I'll put you in this spirit beast bag. There's spirit chi inside that can help you recover faster. Yunjoga used Dummy to show them her spirit beast bag. The rabbit people were amazed. After trying it, they were all very satisfied with the spirit beast bag. Yunjoga finally dealt with the group of rabbits. She was about to argue with Zishang when she saw him standing at a small dirt mound in the distance. Look what I found. Yunjoga walked over to take a look and found that there was a big hole inside. There were thousands of black stones inside. What is this? Yunjoga picked it up and weighed it. It was very heavy. It wasn't an ordinary stone. It looked like iron ore. This is a common iron ore. Once it's refined, it can be used as a weapon. Zishang had been wondering where he could get some ores to refine into a weapon. Now, the problem was solved. No wonder the gnolls would stay in this godforsaken place. They're here for these ores. Needless to say, Nangong, you must have asked them to collect them. This trip was not in vain. Hurry up and put them away. Zishang said with satisfaction. Yunjoga bluntly put away all the vanadium ores. Let's go to the cliff. Yunjoga stored the gnolls that had been controlled by the demonic chi at the bottom of the spirit beast pouch, then started running with Zishang. Although she could not use her spiritual power, the spell of 10,000 beasts had laid a solid foundation for her body, and her running speed was not inferior to that of a wild horse. After running for about an hour, Yunjoga and the others arrived at the cliff. They saw that the grass curtain hanging over the cave had disappeared, and the things inside were in a mess. It was obvious that someone had ransacked it. Yunjoga's heart tightened, and he hurriedly flicked his moon spirit thread into the cave. Zishang tapped lightly on the cliff wall a few times before floating in with Yunjoga. There were many bloodstains in the cave, mixed with gray feathers and white rabbit fur. Looks like the spy you mentioned has appeared. Zishang looked around the cave, then picked up the bloodstain in the corner and rubbed it. Even if there's a spy, aren't there still the military counselor and the others? How did they get killed so quickly? Yunjoga originally thought that with the Eaglemen and Rabbitmen around, the spy would not be able to get away with it. You'll have to ask them. Zishang looked at the bottom of the cliff. They're down there. Yunjoga followed Zishang's gaze and looked at the pitch-black bottom of the cliff. The bloodstains are going downwards, so they should be down there. Hold on tight. Zishang wrapped his arms around Yunjoga's slender waist and jumped down the cliff. The wind whistled past her ears. Just as she was about to fall, she flicked her moon spirit thread upwards to stabilize herself, then slowly descended. A thick smell of blood wafted from the bottom of the cliff. Two figures were lying in a pile of rubble. Yunjoga went over to take a look and saw that the one in front was Agu. He was lying face down on the ground, and there were bloody holes on his back, which dyed both sides of his wings red. Behind Agu was the military counselor. He was lying on his back and looked like he still had some consciousness. When he saw Yunjoga, his mouth moved. He wanted to shout for help, but he could not make a sound. Don't speak. Yunjoga hurriedly used acupuncture to stop their bleeding. Then, she fed a few of the blood-staunching spirit pills and essence-nurturing pills that she had brought. The effects of the spirit pills were very obvious. The bloody holes on their bodies had stopped. Miss Yun, quickly go and save Gua, and the others, the military counselor said in a hoarse voice as he struggled to sit up. Who attacked you? Yunjoga asked. Yes, Ash. The military counselor's face revealed an extremely pained expression. He never expected that it would be his own people who would stab him in the back. Ah, how could it be him? Yunjoga was also greatly shocked. I don't know why he did that either. The military counselor recounted what had happened with great difficulty. When Ah Hui came over, there was nothing out of the ordinary. He even took the initiative to help the rabbit men fetch water and told them about the construction of the city. Just as they were talking enthusiastically, Ah Hui suddenly took out a sharp wooden spike and stabbed them in the back. Then, he used the lives of the pregnant Gua, and the little rabbit to threaten the rabbit men to leave with him. I'll send you back first before chasing after them. Yunjoga wanted to send the military counselor to the top of the cliff. No, quickly chase after them. We definitely cannot let Ah Hui send the rabbit men to the oracle. Otherwise, the eagle men race would not be able to atone for their sins even if they died 10,000 times. Alright, then I'll go chase after them first. I'll come back to pick you up later. Seeing that their injuries were still considered stable, Yunjoga did not say anything else. He threw out his moon spirit threads and headed to the top of the cliff. Treasure-seeking scorpion, do you still remember the scent of the rabbit man that was with you previously? Can you help me find it? Yunjoga released the treasure-seeking scorpion. That rabbit was captured by someone. Who is so evil as to actually attack a pregnant female? The treasure-seeking scorpion shouted angrily. If I catch him, I'll definitely kill him. With that said, it jumped onto the ground and spun around a few times. Then, it pointed to the west and said, there. Chase after him. Yunjoga threw the treasure-seeking scorpion onto his shoulder and quickly headed west with Zishang. After running for 2 hours, they finally saw a figure flying in the distant sky. It was Ah Hui. Should we directly shoot him down, or follow him to see where he's going? Zishang asked Yunjoga. According to his intentions, he wanted to cast a long line to catch a big fish, but Yunjoga might not be willing to let the rabbit men take the risk. Chapter 5:17. Let's go take a look first. Yunjoga thought about it and decided to follow. It would be best if he could find Nangong Yu's address. Yunjoga, Zishang and the rest followed behind Hui and saw him flying towards the death swamp. The deathly aura emitted by the death swamp had a strong corrosive effect on beastmen. Even flying in the sky would be shrouded by it. After Hui entered the death swamp, he slowed down and the feathers on his wings started to dim. However, he still continued to fly forward. Yunjoga released his god power to create a protective barrier and brought Zishang into the death swamp. After following Hui for about 1 kilometer, he passed through the miasma and landed on a flat ground. When Yunjoga got closer, he realized that behind the miasma was a grey fort. The fort occupied an area of 5 hectares and was 3 stories tall. It had no windows and only a square door. Currently, there were 2 lizard men guarding it. A few gray-skinned lizard men walked out stiffly and took Hui in. Could this be Nangong Yu's base? She actually dared to stay here. Yunjoga was very surprised. A cultivator without the protection of spiritual energy was no different from an ordinary person. Wasn't Nangong Yu afraid of being contaminated by living here? Let's go take a look. Zishang pulled Yunjoga's hand and silently approached the fort. There were beast men guarding the fort. All of them had gray-skinned glazed eyes and looked like stone statues. Yunjoga opened his spiritual eye to take a look and realized that these beast men were filled with demonic aura. It was even worse than the previous lupus. The previous lupus could only be said to be controlled. These beast men had completely turned into puppets. It was no wonder that they were not afraid of the deathly aura and the miasma. Zishang picked up a stone and threw it at the heads of the two lizard men guarding the gate. When they raised their heads to look around, he threw another stone into the swamp at the side. The two lizard men walked over stiffly to take a look. Yunjoga and Zishang took the opportunity to sneak in. The entrance was completely dark without any light. A slightly familiar voice came from not far away. Why are there only so few rabbit men? Yunjoga stretched his head out to take a closer look. The ones who spoke were the leopard youth and the lizard man who intercepted them when they entered the secret realm. In this lifeless place filled with puppet beast men, the two of them were strangely awake. Yunjoga opened his spirit eye and discovered that the two beast men were also covered in golden light that was protecting their sea of consciousness. The leopard youth's golden light shone on his chest, while the lizardman's golden light shone on his ears. It was more intense than the rabbitman's, but not as intense as Dummy's. Strange, since these two beast men had golden light protecting their bodies, why weren't they captured? Could it be that there was something special about them? The rest of the rabbit men must be with the gnolls. Do you even need to ask? The lizard man said. All right, take these rabbits to the prison and put them there. The leopard youth handed the rabbits back to Ash and pointed the way for him. Carrying a big bag of rabbits, Ahui turned around and walked out. Rabbits, I can only help you fight for this little bit of time. The leopard youth sighed. Stop talking nonsense, hurry up and report to the Lord. The lizard man said coldly. Sigh, let's go. Hopefully, we can make it out alive this time. The panther race youngster gave a long sigh before patting his chest. The golden light on his chest gradually extinguished and black gas filled his body. His skin turned gray and his eyes became lifeless, turning into a puppet. The lizard man rubbed his ears and put away the golden light. After turning into a puppet with the leopard youth, they slowly walked into the depths of the castle. I'll go with them to take a look, bring Ash and the rabbits back. Yunjoga gestured to Zishang. Can you do it by yourself? Zishang didn't agree. I'll just go and take a look, I definitely won't act rashly. Yunjoga felt that he was much more cautious than Zishang. All right. Zishang nodded and split up with Yunjoga. Yunjoga followed the leopard youth and the lizard man to a large door deep in the castle. This large door was made of gray stone and there were all kinds of totems carved on it. There were also two monkey demon corpses guarding the door. Yunjoga's heart tightened when she saw the two monkey demon corpses. In this secret realm, only Cho Sin could have monkey demon corpses. These two monkey demon corpses had changed a lot compared to the outside world. They had giant sharp teeth, gray stone-like skin, and their bodies were releasing a thick death aura. Their cultivation bases were in the Golden Core realm. She didn't know how Cho Sin did this. Yunjoga's heart was filled with questions and she didn't dare act rashly. She saw the two monkey demon corpses look over the leopard youth and the lizard man before letting them in. The gray door was only opened enough for them to pass through, but it was a pity that Yunjoga couldn't see anything from her angle. She didn't dare take the risk of drawing away the two monkey demon corpses, so she could only silently wait. It was a good thing that the leopard youth and the lizard man quickly came out and then slowly walked outside. Yunjoga considered it for a bit before giving up on looking for Cho's senator. She turned around and followed the leopard youth and the lizard man. Seeing their sober appearance, they would definitely be able to give her a lot of information. At this time, a sharp alarm sounded in the castle. The leopard youth and the lizardman's gray lights suddenly rose as they charged at the source of the alarm. Yunjoga's pupils shrank and she suddenly shot out a moon spirit thread to tie up the leopard youth and the lizard man. Then she quickly put them into her spirit beast bag. Let's go. Zishang quickly ran over to Yunjoga with Ah Hui on his shoulder. Behind him was a large group of beastmen puppets. Countless crossbow bolts were shot at him, but they were all sent flying by his sleeves. Put them away. Yunjoga threw the spirit beast bag to Zishang and followed him outside. What happened? There was a monkey-eaten corpse with a keen sense of smell in the prison and I was accidentally discovered by it. Zishang felt that he was really unlucky. He had knocked Ah Hui unconscious and was about to go find Yunjoga, but he never thought that he would be discovered by a monkey-eaten corpse with a giant nose. Although he had knocked out the monkey-eaten corpse with his tail, it still triggered the alarm. I followed those two beast men inside and found two golden core realm monkey-eaten corpses. Yunjoga described the appearance of the two eaten corpses. It seems like the ones inside are either Cho Sen or Nangong Yu. Should we go find them? Zishang was a bit moved. Save it, can you beat them? Yunjoga said as he sent a leopard puppet flying. Who says this venerable can't beat them? Zishang was a bit dissatisfied. Yunjoga was looking down on him too much. Alright, fighting alone isn't your style. You should go back and gather the Beastman army to crush them. Yunjoga comforted him. Good idea. Zishang threw Yunjoga onto his body and his lower body turned into a black snake tail, sending countless beastmen flying. Chapter 5:18. The monster monkey-eaten corpses are here, let's go. Yunjoga turned his head to look behind him and saw two golden core monster monkey-eaten corpses charging over with spears. The death aura on the spears was very terrifying. Help me, I'll directly leave the death swamp. Zishang's tail smashed the wall and he jumped out of the castle, instantly arriving at the edge of the death swamp. Yunjoga covered Zishang in a layer of golden light, isolating the death aura outside. Zishang jumped into the death swamp and with a twist of his tail, he flew out like an arrow. There were several fast beast puppets that chased after him, but they immediately sank into the swamp. The monster monkey-eaten corpses looked at Yunjoga and Zishang flying away, pounding their chests as they let out angry roars. Behind the gray stone door, Cho Sen, who was studying the golden beast puppets, looked up when he heard the commotion. He called the monster monkey-eaten corpses in and after communicating with them, he found out that a woman and a snake person had come in to cause destruction. Yunjoga, right? Cho Sen suddenly laughed, his left eye was dark and strange. So what if you are the reincarnation of a goddess? No one can stop our otherworldly demon race from starting a great journey. After Yunjoga and Zishang charged out of the death swamp, they wildly ran for another hour. After confirming that the beast puppets would not chase them, they let out a sigh of relief. We have to find a safe place to stay as soon as possible. Yunjoga looked at the darkening sky and his heart began to sink. The night in the secret realm was very dangerous, the death aura would spread very quickly. Other than the deformed dead beasts, no other animals would dare come out. Even if Yunjoga had divine energy protecting his body, he would not dare try it. Zishang looked at the incomparably empty field. He was afraid that it would be hard to find a safe cave before nightfall, so it would be better to make a hole here. He raised his hand and pressed down on the ground. Gray Yin Chi came out of his palm and drilled into the ground. A round hole immediately appeared in front of Yunjoga. All right. Zishang held Yunjoga and jumped down. He sealed the hole and there was no trace of them in the field. You used Ian Shirley quite thoroughly. Yunjoga looked around the empty basement in front of him. Everything was made from Ian energy. Equivalent exchange, Fan Yin's favor is very valuable. If it wasn't for the special circumstances, Zishang wouldn't have wanted to sell it to Ian Shirley. It was too cheap for them to help build the city. How did Fan Yin owe you a favor? In Yunjoga's impression, the handsome monk was always dignified and solemn. He could not even crack a joke. How could he owe Zishang a favor? I told him that you wanted to take him into your harem, which made me feel very embarrassed. He felt that he owed me a favor. Zishang said rather evilly. I never thought of taking him in, okay? Yunjoga glared at him. No matter how bad he was in his previous life, he still had a bottom line. I know, I purposely tricked him. Zishang purposely made Fan Yin owe him a favor so that he could torment him in the future. You are so despicable. Zishang dared to use her. Yuling was right about him. Thank you for the compliment. Zishang smiled. He was such a despicable person, and he felt very honored. Release Ash. I want to ask him what's going on. Yunjoga decided to interrogate the traitor first. Zishang then released Ah Hui. Ash's usually cold face was very sluggish. He looked at Yunjoga in a daze. It was obvious that he was being controlled. Yunjoga opened her spirit eye and saw that his mind was filled with a ball of thick gray gas. Why is it like this? Previously, when Yunjoga had examined Ah Hui, he had not been controlled. Why did he suddenly erupt? Could it be that the demonic chi was so well hidden that even her spirit eye was fooled? Could it be because of this? Zishang gestured for Yunjoga to look at Ash's back. There was a bloody hole there. It was caused by the gnoll's crossbow. Yunjoga suddenly thought of the special gray arrowhead of the gnoll. She took out the arrowhead from her storage bag. Zishang released Yin energy at the arrowhead. The arrowhead immediately turned into black and red demonic energy. With a whoosh, it burrowed into Ash's wound. After Yunjoga used her god power to extinguish the demonic energy, she asked Zishang, where did they get so many demonic stones? Why didn't the Naga race use these arrowheads before? If the Naga race also used these arrowheads, the Eaglemen race would have been wiped out. It probably has to do with the user's physique. The gnoll is already a puppet, so it can make use of the demonic stones. However, the demonic stones shouldn't be able to turn the beastmen into puppets. They must have used other methods, such as the Gaga grass, to turn the beastmen into puppets. Only then can they make use of the demonic stones. Zishang gave his conjecture. It's getting more and more troublesome. Yunjoga sighed. She kept Ash in her spiritual beast bag and released the leopard youth and the lizard man. These two were even more wooden than Ash. Their bodies were covered in gray gas, just like the gnoll. If Yunjoga hadn't seen them speak, she would have thought that they had become puppets. She injected her god power into the chests of the two beastmen. The two beastmen's bodies glowed with a golden light, slowly dispersing the demonic energy in their heads. Then, they opened their eyes. It's you. The leopard youth instantly recognized Yunjoga. Where is this? The lizard man looked at the earthy yellow basement warily. It's safe here. You've already escaped from the death swamp, Yunjoga said calmly. Zishang hid her breath and hid in the shadows. You rescued us. The leopard youth had a look of disbelief. This woman could actually pass through the death swamp and Grey Castle. She was too powerful. That's right. What are your names? Why did you go to Grey Castle? What happened there? What's behind that patterned door? Yunjoga fired off a barrage of questions. The leopard youth glanced at the lizard man. When he saw the lizard man nod, he slowly said, I'm Flowery, and he's Big Ear. We were captured and brought to Grey Castle. Behind the door is a man called Cho Sr. It turned out that Xiao Hua and Big Ear were the first batch of beast men to seek refuge with the Oracle. After receiving the Oracle's order to capture Yunjoga, they had been loitering at the entrance of the secret land. After Yunjoga escaped with Dummy that day, they planned to go back and report to the Oracle. They didn't expect to be recruited by Cho Sen to come to the Death Swamp and help him capture beast men who could transform into beasts. Is the Cho Sen you're talking about a man who looks like a 5-year-old child? Yunjoga asked. No, Cho Sen is a tall and handsome man who looks very gloomy and scary. Big Ear shook his head. Did Cho Sen lift the curse? Yunjoga thought for a moment, then asked, why did Cho Sen capture beast men who can transform into beasts? Chapter 5:19. He kept those beast men in cages behind the door and drank their blood every day. Little Blossom shuddered at the thought. You too can transform too. Why doesn't Cho Sen drink your blood? Yunjoga was confused. These two beast men were definitely high-quality products. How do you know we can transform? You're wrong. We can't. Little Blossom and Big Ear said at the same time. You don't have to lie to me. My eyes can see the golden light on your bodies. Yunjoga nodded at his eyes, then pointed at Little Blossom's chest and Big Ear's ears. Your golden light is here. Little Blossom and Big Ear's faces tensed up. The next moment, they suddenly attacked Yunjoga. But before they could get close to Yunjoga, they were sent flying by a strong force. They slammed into the wall. Behave, or I'll break your necks. Zishang cracked his knuckles as he walked out of the shadows. He stood beside Yunjoga like an unshakable mountain. Little Blossom and Big Ear looked at him with complicated expressions. That attack just now made them know that this man was very strong. There was no way they could win. Don't be too nervous. I mean you no harm. The demonic air is everywhere. Only the golden light can save you beast men. Do you know where the golden light on your bodies came from? Yunjoga asked directly. We don't know where the golden light on our bodies came from either. Little Blossom and Big Ear shook their heads at the same time. After he and Big Ear were intercepted by Cho Sen and brought to the Death Swamp, Cho Sen injected magic stones into them and turned them into gray puppets. These gray puppets were very strong and did not fear death, but they could not use magic stone tools. The second day after Little Blossom and Big Ear became puppets, they awoke to the golden light and regained consciousness, so he could not provide any useful clues. If you think of any clues, tell me immediately. Yunjoga did not expect Little Blossom and Big Ear to immediately tell him the secret of the golden light. If they knew where the golden light came from, they wouldn't be so weak. They would at least be at Dummy's level. Yes. Little Blossom and Big Ear quickly nodded. How are your people now? Yunjoga wanted to bring them to the city that Zishang built. There might be other people with golden light. My people are still in their original camp, Little Blossom said. Little Flower could guess what Yunjoga was thinking. He immediately said, I am willing to represent them and be loyal to you. You just need to give them a safe place to stay. The oracle looked at them like they were ants, but Yunjoga was calm. The divine emissary looked at them as though they were ants, but Yunjoga's gaze was calm. Lady Yun, I am also willing to serve you on behalf of the Lizard Men tribe. The conditions are the same as the Leopard Men tribe, Big Ear said solemnly. I agree, Yun said. We can. You. And Little Blossom said, You. But we only have 2 hours of conscious time every day. Little Blossom smiled bitterly and pointed at his chest. The golden light there was fading. Me too, so I have no choice but to ask you to send someone to pick them up. This is a token from the chief. You just have to show it to my people, and they will follow you. Big Ear took off a black leather rope hanging from his chest. There was a series of gray scales hanging from it. Big Ear bit his index finger and smeared the blood on the scales. The gray scales immediately turned blue. Little Blossom took off his bracelet. There was a white tooth on it. He rubbed his blood on the tooth, too. The tooth turned black. Don't worry. I will send the Eagle Men to pick them up, Yunjoga said, taking their tokens. Thank you, Yunjoga. Little Blossom and Big Ear thanked him. Oh, I have one more thing to ask you. Yunjoga told her about the gnolls, then took out the arrow made of magic stones and asked, Do you know what's going on? Xiaohua picked up the magic stone arrow and looked at it carefully. He said, I remember that the oracle appeared in the gnoll tribe. The gnolls worshipped the oracle very much. Then, they got sick. The oracle gave them gaga grass to cure them. They volunteered to go to the grasslands to collect iron. I don't know what happened after that. It seemed that the prerequisite to consuming the demonic gaga grass was to worship Nangongyu. Yunjoga nodded to himself. If that was the case, then it made sense. Apart from Cho Sen, did you see anyone else with the oracle? Zi Shang asked. No. Actually, we have never seen the god messenger's true face. She always wears a big white cloak, and her face is covered with a veil. Little Flower's voice was getting weaker and weaker. His face was gray, and he became a puppet again. Yunjoga put Little Blossom and Big Ear into the spirit beast bag. She asked Zishang, I wonder how Nangongli and Bailey Moyun are. She had a bad feeling. No matter what happened to them, they asked for it. They chose to believe Nangongyu and not them. I hope they're still alive. They were friends. Yunjoga didn't want them to become Nangongyu's puppets. The next morning, Yunjoga and Zishang returned to the bottom of the cliff. They found that Counselor and Gu were gone. However, the clues they left behind indicated that they had returned to Eagle Cliff. Back to Eagle Cliff or the city? Zishang asked Yunjoga. Let's go back to the city. Yunjoga thought about it and decided to go back. That was her territory. That's right. Zishang looked like she was worth teaching. What kind of boss would run around all day? Of course, it was to wait for the minions to come. 2 hours later, Yunjoga and Zishang arrived at the construction site. From afar, the tall walls were very eye-catching. They could see the eagle people moving around the small mountain in the middle. There were also many snake people helping to build houses by the walls. Elder Bai and Meng thought that Zishang would need a long time to build the city. They didn't expect it to be done in just a few days. The two races immediately came over to take the position. Lady Yun, you're back. Ah Se saw them from afar and rushed over. Oh, right, how are Counselor and Gu? Yunjoga asked. They're fine. They're recovering at Eagle Cliff. Did you catch Hui, that traitor? Ah Se asked excitedly. I did. Are Elder Bai and Meng here? Yunjoga asked. They're all in the mountains. I'll take you there. Ah Se said. No need. Go back and tell Elder Bai and Meng to gather all the orcs. I have something to say to them. Yunjoga decided to gather everyone and tell them about the gnolls. Okay, I'll go now. Zay flapped his wings and flew back. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.